Cam, I need to be.
Oh my God, we already missed all the good stuff.
I know we missed all the good stuff. It all
It's
came in
over.
the first 2 minutes, like bam, bam,
Uh,
bam.
and
Yes,
forever we'll be like, oh, I
I.
wish that.
It's all downhill from here, man.
Oh
Like
no.
we're gonna get so boring.
You should have seen those first 2 minutes. I'm telling you, it was epic. You were talking about now. This is a beautiful story, like right out of the get go. Okay, like I
Yeah.
said, I've been listening to your links all day and everything, but I have not heard this one. Okay, we have a
No, I
father. We have a father and son hypnosis. What is this?
so
Your
so
teacher.
the yeah, so just I got to like I got to well, I don't want to, well, I'll just say it how I experienced it. I'm not saying that's the way it is for everybody, but I got sucked out of my passion and and zest for life uh through non-duality. Yeah, my own doing.
Mm-hmm,
When I
mm-hmm.
when I found it and everything, it fucking saved me. It really did. And I started talking about it, and I started doing these videos and talking like with Frank and everything, and because everybody around me got so sick of me talking like this that I was
Oh, I
like,
hear you.
they're
Yeah, I
like,
hear you.
we've been with you through all of your
Oh,
whatever sandboxes, and some of them
yeah.
have been very interesting. Like I got into shamanism, into doing psychic readings,
Mhm,
into
mhm,
who knows what.
yeah.
And they were like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Right.
Non-duality, they're like, I want to fucking punch you in the face if you keep
Yeah.
talking that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Hardcore non-duality is it's brutal for people. The thing is that I don't know about you, but within the context of a conversation or a Q&A, for me,
Yeah.
it's just a lot funner to just roll with the illusion of time and space and separation as if we are two separate consciousnesses.
You know what? This is. That's why this is
Yeah.
here. So
Yeah.
I just found that's why it's like
Yeah.
it's like I've recently, oh my god, what a trip that has been and continues to be. I've recently landed into the, I've done all kinds of psychedelics, but I've landed into like the DMT realms and the bufo frog, which is, oh my god, I was like, man. And everything, it was such a non-dual experience, but not from the, well, the bufo was the 5-meo DMT. The other, the DMT is very visual. It takes you to
Mhm.
other realms. And, you see things, you hear things, you whatever. But that tends to be more of another show, right?
Right.
Like another show in the circus of life.
Giselle,
Which,
you know what intrigues me about that DMT is everybody's got that same vision, of everybody's got the uh the goddess kind of thing. You get sucked right
yeah,
out of.
that's all Terrence McKenna's fault.
Yeah.
Self-transforming machine angels. You know, it's like,
I
so this
suspected.
is interesting, Howard. This is really interesting. This thought just jumped in my head. Like Terrence McKenna, he was amazing. And
He
what he
was.
when he speaks about, well, he's dead now, but when he spoke about like society and self-empowerment and self-realization and all that stuff was right fucking on. And and he was a psychonaut, he's exploring the
Mhm.
realms, and even he himself would say like DMT is it's not pussyfoot shit, like this is like he would do it like once or twice a year, just, but
Mhm.
he was the king of psychedelics. He had a
Mhm.
following, he had a cult classic sort of thing, and good for him. I mean, it takes a brave soul to explore these realms, because you don't really know if you'll come back. There's no
Oh
guarantee.
gosh, yeah. You have no control, in that
Yeah.
what he was talking about. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so but here's the thing, like with all things, the gurus, the Jesuses, the Tony Parsons,
Mhm.
Terrence McKenna became the psychedelic guy.
Yeah.
And what he was saying, and I feel like it's all conditioning, and
Mhm.
it's all kind of it's like you've read it, you've heard it, and
Yeah.
then other people have read it and heard it and had that experience. So when you go, you have that experience,
Right.
right?
Right. Right. It's the
You know,
story of it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Like Tony Parsons is kind of the Neo Advaita guy, whatever, and
Go
but
ahead, please.
yeah. So it's like that becomes the thing, and it's just a natural kind of human reaction and conditioning that just happens, right? So I recently, so the bufo frog, the 5-meo, like literally landed in my lap like Friday, and Friday night I was like, no way I'm doing this. I'm not, there's no way, because my friend and I, after doing DMT and just the way life is you know ex, unrolling, unveiling itself to us, we're going to be holding these sacred ceremonies for people, offering the DMT, for expansion of consciousness, healing, whatever. So I was like, okay, I've heard about the 5-MeO, and I've seen documentaries and everything, and I was like, this is really cool, but no way I'm gonna do this. So it
Yeah.
falls into, literally, like out of the fucking blue, into my lap Friday night. I'm discussing it with my husband and Cheryl, and we're like on the deck, and I'm like, all right, I don't need to do this. I don't need to do this. It's just okay. And then Saturday morning, 5 a.m., wide awake. Fuck, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Saturday, but so between 5 and like noon, I just dove into a ton of research, watching videos of this 5-MeO. And I saw this brilliant video. I'll send you the link to it if you want. I think it's super interesting how this is like a PhD guy, not that that matters, but that seems to have some value in this kind of reality, that he's explores psychedelics, and the way he talks about this is mwah. So I felt really confident.
Mhm.
This is my turn. It's obvious. Otherwise, it wouldn't be here. So I
Right.
did it, and it literally left me speechless. In fact, one word popped out of my mouth that I remember as I was in the journey was magnificent.
Mm.
Magnificent. But just let me finish this thought. What I when I was doing my research that morning, I researched Terence McKenna and 5-MeO. Okay. And I found this Reddit post of a very, I say conscious person in the sense that very mature, very just, posing a question out there without judgment, just, like curious and for feedback. And this was his take. Terence McKenna never really talked about 5-MeO.
Mm.
And when he was asked about it, he was very brief about it, and then he kind of brushed it off as right? So so the question that he was posing is, why do you think that is? Like, um, his whole following, his whole sort of life, his whole circus ride, was about this psychedelic exploration and self-transforming machine angels and the elves and the goddesses and the aliens, right? And so people were doing it, and they were like, oh, we're getting messages, we're getting healed. And I'm not saying that's not happening, but
Right.
it's this show. It's more and more and more, right? So when I went
Right.
into the DMT experience for the first time, which was about a month ago, it I got floored with so much more. I got floored with intense visuals and sensations. And yes, I felt energies and presences talking to me and doing things to me. But I was like, on some level, there was a sort of resistance. It wasn't even fear, it was sort of a resistance of, I think this is another fucking sideshow in the circus. And that's
Mm.
okay.
Yeah.
But this is not why I went into this. And for people on different levels on their path and whatever, this is massive. It can really shift stuff and clear stuff up and whatever. But where I was at, and I'm not saying I'm better or whatever, I'm just saying it's different for me. That was more stuff that but when I did the 5-MeO, I'm like, now we're talking. Now we're
Right.
talking. It stripped everything away. There
Mm.
was no visuals. There was there was this there was this awareness that was still me, and it was so weird. It was so strange because it was like it's not really here. It's nothing. But at the same time, and how non-dual is this? It's everything,
Yeah,
but I have no
yeah.
idea what this everything is. And I even felt that the everythingness also had no idea what it was.
Ah, I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. Yes. Yes.
And there was this vibrating energy in my body that
Hmm.
was like, it wasn't my heart was literally beating out of my chest. And I was having this kind of mental trip, like maybe I should stop smoking because my heart is da da da. And I don't smoke that much, but I enjoy when I smoke. I enjoy. I smoke like one or two a day, And I'm like, I don't want to stop that shit. so so when my heart was beating out of my chest, I was like not scared at all. It just showed
Oh,
me
it's
like
so funny.
you have infinite capacity to love, to experience, to feel the intensity of life at its core.
Mm, mm,
And
mm,
nothing can stop you and hurt you. And you will die at some point, the body will, but this is
mm.
not your time. So don't you worry about that, Missy. And if it is, so be it. But
Hey.
anyway, and my friend, because we had you have to have a sitter, as they call it,
Oh
just
yeah.
to make
Okay.
sure,
Yeah.
um I've seen in documentaries where they do it out in nature and they start flip-flopping around, and then they can land in the water with their face and drown that way. So they just keep them safe. So we had a sitter like that. And I mean, we were just doing it in here, and uh, Cheryl and I, when we went in together, and it was so still at some point when I was like, "Is she dead?" And I'm like, "Wait, I'm not dead, so I don't think she's dead." But it was so quiet. But when the other two did it, we took him to the river.
Hmm.
He was ripping out, like yelling to God, and I don't know what he was saying. And he was literally ripping his clothes off till he was completely naked, and just like,
Nice.
ah! I'm like, okay,
Having a good time.
absolutely.
Had the right
Yeah,
cocktail.
absolutely. But anyway, my friend who was watching us when Cheryl and I went in, she said, "Geez, I could literally see my heart in my shirt." I was like, "Wow."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah.
was cool. That was really
I,
cool.
I get that way too though with that experience of I've lost it now, but while you were talking about it, I understood exactly what you mean. The in that literally no safety net. You think you go to this level where you're going to get an answer, and what you get is just a bigger, just unknowable wow, and
Absolutely.
it just grows and it expands
Yeah.
exponentially, and it just
Yeah.
gone. There's just nothing there. You get that heart going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I yeah, and then just noticing where people are at, and also like we're all the same. We're all the same source experiencing itself. There's no doubt in my mind about that. At least being a human as Giselle in this lifetime, there's no doubt in my mind about that. Whether that's the way it is or not, it doesn't matter. That's the way it's here now and appearing. And it seems to respond, whatever it is, it responds to that. And there's an intelligence that's playing through you, and the level of your awareness and understanding, like the guy I told you about that tore his clothes off, he is completely into past lives, so much so that you can be having a normal conversation like this and he'll just pull up a past life like it was last week or something, and not just one past life but many. So in our conversations I was trying to like, does that help you? I don't know. I was just trying to say, hey, right here, right now, where's the past lives here, right here, right now? And that's when he had his 5-MeO experience. It was so dramatic, and on some level, I felt maybe a bit played, but I'm like, is that my perception and judgment, or is it really true? It doesn't fucking matter. So instead of like looking at him and thinking that and projecting that towards him, I just walked away and just walked down further down the
Yeah.
river and let him have without my energy kind of imposing on that.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so that's the source, God, whatever you want to call it, the unknowable, the absolute being in being itself in that way, you
Mm.
know? So when you have a certain level of awareness, and again, I know that sounds kind of like a hierarchy, but fuck it, it is so, right? It is that way. And it's not better or worse. It's just a sort of like more expansive and understanding and way of being in life. So when you have that, you can see all that for what it is.
Mm.
You can appreciate it. You can understand that there's no need for you to interfere or to change or to convince, to just observe if you want to. If you
Mhm.
don't want to, you don't have to. You can be like, this is fucking annoying and walk away, you know.
Right, right,
We have that freedom
right,
always, you know.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's no matter what I think of the moment. Um, it's it's not even an illusion, but it's not time and space, and this is not matter and motion, cause and effect, and we're not two separate points. So
Yeah.
to talk about it, it's impossible. So I say I like the way you do it in that you
Thanks.
just let it rip, man, and I love it.
Yeah. And this is something, Howard, that I got really frustrated with the whole non-dual community and speak. It's like, it's just words. They don't mean anything. It's
Right.
impossible to talk about it. I'm like, you know what?
But we
No,
can.
it's
Yeah.
not. It
Yeah.
really isn't. We know that it's unknowable, whatever, but whatever is appearing here, words, I'm a fucking hypnotist. It's all through the power of words. And I've seen what could be considered miracles happen in sessions. And you're going to say, oh, it's just words. And da, da, da. I get really like, so then go lie in a fucking hole and just, whatever.
Tell, tell me about hypnotism, man. I'm so
Okay, so
curious. What's
yeah,
this
so we
about?
started about this we started in our magical 2 minutes that will never be heard.
Yeah. It's perfect. It's perfect.
So yeah, I was coming out of this non-dual slump, and I'm not in no way blaming anyone or saying anything, but I recognize for myself, like, okay, yeah, maybe this is the way it is, maybe whatever, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but it's made life pretty flat in a way, because it's there's nobody here, or there's no story, and there's no cause and effect. And it's like, you know what? In the storylines, stories are fantastic. That's why we're in
Right,
this
right,
human form. You just
right.
don't get attached to them. You don't get like, like watching a movie. Imagine if
Mm.
a movie was just about no cause and effect, nobody's here, rah, rah, rah. Be like, all right,
Right.
you know, and I see it that way. Like it's a movie, it's a playground. And yes, we know the truth, if that's maybe even the truth, but we're here. Let's play, let's explore. And miracles, which I've witnessed, magic, which I've witnessed daily now, it
Yeah.
comes from a story, it comes from a cause and effect. And it's really very real when you look
Right.
at how things happen,
Yeah.
you know? Like
Yeah.
I think of this friend that I haven't seen in 9 years. I have a dream with him. I message him. He's like, I was praying for a miracle, and you call me. He shows up. We have 5 MEO. He has 5 MEO. We do. I mean, like, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? It's
It's
like,
like it's just what I needed.
how can you really say there's no cause and effect? Okay, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah.
yeah, but it is also just the moment and nothing else. But that's the
Mhm.
beauty. Anyway, it's both. It's all of it.
It's
And
both. Yeah. It's and
yeah,
neither and something else.
yeah, exactly. Neither.
Yeah.
Neither. So I'm gonna get to the hypnotists, because I think that you're gonna love that story. But I just want to look into I wrote it down to actually my hypnotist friend who's been and I just wanted to read this because I felt like, oh, that came out pretty good. If I can find sorry, let me um anyway, maybe not now. Okay, so my hypnotist friends. So I was coming out of that non-dual slump, and I was like, geez, in the illusion of time and lifetimes, I probably have another, what, I'm 50 now, so probably another 40, 45 years, 35 years left of this. Unless something drastic happens, which it can, but it's, this, the odds are that it won't, but whatever. And I'm like, I can't handle this. I can't handle this. I'm like, I was, I was not depressed. I was just exhausted. I was like,
How
oh,
about this? I am beyond free, but I can't say anything without being criticized. I mean, it's like, come on, let's just
yeah,
talk. This is the
yeah,
appearance of, let's just
yeah,
talk
yeah.
like,
And part of that is, oh, this is linking to my
yeah,
hypnotist friends. A part of it is not giving a shit about being criticized or not,
right,
about being
right.
liked or not. So I was really like, I wasn't depressed or anything, but and I just didn't really care to wake up the next day. And I opened my eyes, I'm like, shit, I'm still here. Like, and I'm like,
It's
that's
so
really not a
brutal.
good way to
That's
start it every
brutal.
day. Like,
Oh my God, that's
shit, I'm still
horrible.
like, somebody kill me in my sleep,
Damn it.
please.
That's horrible.
All the miracles of the world, come take our stuff and kill
Oh
me.
no, no. You're like praying to be the wicked witch under the house. Just kill me
Take me out of
now.
what's that line from Dracula? Take me away from all this death.
Oh, hey, how about that? The death play. The
Oh,
death
yeah.
play. What's this about?
Um, I, yeah. So my mom died of a brain tumor, and funny enough, um, Terrence McKenna was dying of a brain tumor when she was dying of a brain
Wow.
tumor, and I just happened to find that out. I don't know, coincidence, miracles, cause and effect, no cause and effect.
Synchronicity.
Anyway, but yeah, so she she died, and then I used to be a theater person. I used to make theater and act and direct and teach in Europe. And so that was a huge passion. That was one of my best times of my life. So enjoyable, and I loved
And
it.
you went right into it, huh?
Yeah,
Right into it.
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I was, as you were watching with Frank, like my friend and I went to Amsterdam in 1995, and just to have a good time. And then the first week I met my husband at a bar called the Devil, and I stayed for 15 years, and and with him, But anyway, it was never like a plan. Like, I'm just gonna make my life here. It was just, day to day, moment to moment.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
shit. And there was some really motherfucking hard times there, like lack of money, like what am I doing in my life? It was fucking cold and gray all the time in Holland, after the miracle magic summer.
Nobody talks about that
I
part
know. You know
though.
what's funny? When Alyssa and I got to Amsterdam in 1995, in the summer '95, we would spend all our afternoons, most of them, in Vondel Park, which is this beautiful park in the center of Amsterdam. And at that time, there was an art exhibition or an art project, whatever, that was in the lake. It's more like a lagoon. It's not, it's a pretty big lagoon. They had these 14 Buddhas, all white, all in a straight line across the lake, just sitting like this, beautiful sculptures, all the same, all across, 14 of them. I don't know why that number. I'm just curious. Anyway, we would go daily and sit there on our blanket and drink wine and eat good bread and cheese and smoke whatever hash weed, and just had a magical time. And we met some amazing magical people that, like magnets. Oh, who are these two hot young girls sitting there smoking weed and drinking wine? Let's go check them out. So anyway, everybody that we met, they would tell us like
I don't blame them. I'm listening.
everyone we met would say to us, I mean, I'm not kidding you, Howard. Everyone we met would say to us, "You girls have no idea how lucky you are. We have
Right.
not had a summer like this in, I don't know, in a million years or something. Like, every day sunny, every day warm. And we are coming from Southern California. We're like, this is what we're used to, like that. I mean, it
Right.
didn't even cross our minds that it wouldn't be that. Maybe
Right.
that's why it was that.
Right. Right.
And then, life went on and we ended up staying and staying and staying. And then, you know, uh, yeah, then it was like, oh my God, I get how lucky we fucking were. This is like, it's like sunny. I mean, it's gray and cold and rainy.
You're
And if it's
kidding
not,
me. I always thought it was sunny there. Nice.
no, no, and I know it has that sunny vibe, and it is. It's a magical place. I always used to say after being there and living there, that's Amsterdam. If there is a center to infinity, it's Amsterdam.
Well, I mean, somebody couldn't stay in the middle of infinity for 14 years if it wasn't something special.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, so after a while, I was like, all right, seriously confused. And I mean, I wish, knowing what I know now, to go back to that time, because I was under the spell, like we all are. You have to make
Mm,
something in your life. You're young, you're smart, you're in your 20s. I mean, I was there when I was
yeah.
24 is when I first got there, you know,
Mhm.
and you're just wasting your life away, being completely free, meeting people, smoking weed, drinking, lying in the park, going to football games. Man, I never understood soccer, like, they call it football in Europe.
Right,
I'm like, who gives a fuck,
right.
Until I went to a game, Ajax, because my husband and they were huge fans. They would never miss a game, so they took us to that. I'm like, oh my god, I
This
could
is really a
pose.
thing.
It is the energy. I'm like, I'm addicted, and I don't even know how the game is played, but I'm just like, just being here is like freaking awesome.
I love it.
Yeah. So anyway, that was the thing. And then eventually I ended up just, well, what do you want to do? And I ended up realizing my dream of acting in a country that doesn't even speak English. I mean, the irony and the beauty
It's
of
just
that,
amazing. That
isn't
is
it?
amazing.
It's crazy.
So what happened? What was the play? I mean, what was the
All right.
experience
So the
like?
death monologues. Yeah. So fast forward, my mom's got diagnosed with a brain tumor, and, you know, uh, it's kind of a long story, but I can make it short. Well, I'll speak really fast.
Any way you want to do it. I'm sorry if I brought up a bad topic.
No, it's not a bad thought at all. It's just, so my husband and I, Yorit and I, were going to, we had planned a 3 month trip to South America. We had planned to go to Ecuador, Bolivia, and Peru. And we had bought the tickets. We were leaving like in a few days, and we were having, because it was 2 months, any reason to throw a party, so we had a going away party. And it was like, three in the morning or something, and music's going, everybody's high, drunk, happy, whatever. Even his parents were there. And I get this call on Skype, and I'm like, oh shit, that's not good news. And it was my brother and his wife, which is also Dutch. I introduced them. She was my best friend when I was living in Holland, and she was living now with my brother. And my brother had a little grandmother. How do they call it? Grandmother apartment. Yeah, like a little studio in the back of my mom's house. So they were living
Okay.
there. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, mom's in the hospital. It's pretty serious. We don't know exactly what. And like everything just went, whoa. Like
Mhm.
people who didn't even hear what was happening could feel the energy shift in the air. It was like, holy motherfucking shit. Music down, whatever. Said, all right, something's going on with my mom.
Uh-oh.
Um, you just know, even though you don't know, you do know, so anyway, party over, everybody goes home. I don't even remember if I slept, but I remember like at 7 in the morning or so, just only a few hours later, they call and they say she's got glioblastoma multiforme 4. It's like the most malignant brain cancer you can have,
Mhm.
and it's a mystery what causes it. Like everything,
Wow.
what's the mystery of everything? But because there is, it's, sometimes, um the blood brain barrier, this I learned from this whole experience, the whole blood brain barrier um like nothing can really go pass through. So that's why it's really hard to treat. If you can remove a tumor and all the cancer around it, then maybe that's. But if it's that intense, like malignant multiform four, then it's pretty much a done deal. That's what John McCain died of, and anyway, that was John Kennedy or the John Kennedy Jr. Whatever. He also died of.
Brother,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
brother died of
Oh, your brother
brain
died of
cancer.
that.
Brain cancer.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know the technical name of the type, but yeah, it didn't take long. When the symptoms to death was very quick. It was brutal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, we changed our tickets. I literally and everything flowed effortlessly. We were able to switch our tickets. Jordan came a few days later because he's European. He had to get a visa, just to make sure that he could be there and stay there as long as we need to. Anyway, and so we ended up going there instead. And yeah, then we were planning to make a baby in the mountains of Peru, and instead we
Nice.
made instead instead we made
Nice. I love that.
I know that was our
Come
plan. We're gonna
on.
make it right
Come
on the
on.
top of the
What are you doing in our
motherfucking Mayan
country?
temple. That's where our kid's gonna be conceived.
Yes, yes. I can see the passport having babies.
Oh shit.
I had never thought of it, but thank you for the visual.
Well, here's another visual. All right. The baby was made in a kitchen of Costa Mesa, California.
Of course, of course. And it had to be vinyl, it
It
was just
had to because
not,
mom had a motherfucking brain tumor,
You know what? We have to continue the cycle. It's just the way it is.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's our responsibility as human beings.
Oh, it absolutely is. We must perpetuate the cycle. I don't know, man. I don't. There's so many things that you talk about. You know that are kind of I guess almost taboo. I want to say for some speakers, for
Yeah, for
for
for the boxes, for the
yeah,
systems,
yeah.
everything becomes a system, and I don't. That's not really the right word, but something like that. And then and and we talk about freedom, and what is freedom if you can't just
Mhm.
be yourself and whatever is coming through you everywhere? And I don't know. Everything becomes a dogma.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to. And
Well,
that's yeah. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. Speaking of, I was watching your links, like I was saying, and the subject of Osho came up, and I'm with you on the whole Osho thing, right? But the weirdest thing about it is, insofar as a cycle, the appearance of a cycle, Tony Parsons was there in that compound for like 3 years, and
Really? It
you ended up hooking up with Tony Parsons. So think about that progression within the illusion of the story of time and space, and whatever. But he
yeah.
was there. He was an Osho guy, and so and for me, it's almost that continuation of the sadomasochistic, you know, speaker seeker kind of like
Yeah.
bam, 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 where these people just keep asking these questions. And I was wondering, it's so strange how, because I love Tony Parsons. I love, like you were saying, I resonated a lot with, oh gosh, Andreas
Kenneth?
Mueller, but also,
Oh, Kenneth?
it,
Matt? Kenneth Matt?
no, oh gosh,
Jim Newman.
Jim Newman, thank you. Sorry. But I'm with you on that. I totally resonated with him. But there is that perpetual kind of the robes and the beads and that whole thing kind of comes back into play. You have to have this Q&A where there's question A goes to answer B. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that whole thing kind of came out where I'm not an Osho guy, but I love Tony Parsons. How to but they're not the same. But see how so in the end,
Yeah. So in the end, is there an end?
Yeah, well, here we are. I mean,
Yeah.
it's this weird thing.
So I did this um interview, a recording with Emerson from Nothing Media. That was so funny, because I was on a roll and I was just blah 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 blah, and I everything fell down, like shut down. And
Watched it.
oh, okay, okay, yeah, and it took me like 10 minutes to realize I was talking to no one. I was like, and then I look at my phone and I have all these messages and text and like, oh, the system. Well, anyway, I thought that was hilarious. So the reason I brought that up is because I think that's such a great metaphor for all of it.
All of it. Yeah.
The sandboxes, you know,
Yes.
the sandboxes. Osho is a sandbox.
Yeah.
Tony Parsons is a sandbox.
Hmm.
Maybe Tony Parsons and Jim Newman and a few others are in the same sandbox. Maybe
Hmm.
sometimes they appear to be,
Hmm.
and and the human, which is totally fine, but is seeking, is judging, is projecting. They
Hmm.
will look at the sandboxes and not see sandboxes. They will say this is a
Thank
reality,
you.
and they will see, oh, I like Tony Parsons and I don't like Osho because of the robes and all that. So
Hmm.
something's wrong with it. I love Osho simply because he was
Right.
just doing his fucking thing. He became a goddamn millionaire. He had the women, he had the cars, he had the fucking
Had it all.
city in Oregon. Like, well, I have it all. This is kind of boring now. Let's build a city. You know?
No, his thing was his problem. I think it was picking his second, the woman in charge. Just really went over the top with the locals, man. They should have just kind of
Yeah,
played the game a little bit.
that's
Just
harsh.
play the game, I mean, it's
I know, but
it's
you can't, because you can't be beyond your level of consciousness, your level of
right.
awareness. You can't, And I'll share a story with how this became so uber clear to me recently. But anyway, so the sandboxes and it's not like I wasn't aware of this before, but it became super super clear and like no doubt in it after the 5-MeO experience on Saturday, where I was like my whole being, which is everything, was taken, like expanded to the sense that I recognize and realize that you are the playground that
Right.
contains all those sandboxes. And for the
Nice.
sake of experiencing itself, it creates a character with limiting beliefs and experiences and whatever conditioning and confined in the illusion of the limitations of the body, and then it gets to really play, right? It gets
Mm.
to play because it believes it's real, because if you don't believe it's real, it's not as fun, it's not, you're not
Yeah.
as invested,
Yeah.
so it's this whole infinite essence, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
doing this. And in some points of its play, it awakens to itself. And in those situations, it's like, okay, now I'm going to have some fun with myself, you know? And it's not that it's not having fun with itself in all the other things, even in like the extreme situations of war and torture and pedophilia and all that. I mean, it's all the same thing,
Mhm.
but it's like once that awakens to itself in whatever point it does, and this is tricky because it's one, but then there's the illusion of
Right.
for it to be able to experience itself and to play these games,
Mhm.
it has to be separate, or else what the fuck, there's no game. It's just
Mhm.
like, oh, infinity and everything and nothing forever, boring.
Well, like knowing everything, like having answers. Would
Yeah,
What would life be? What would life be if we knew if we knew anything? The beauty of it is that we don't know anything, and that's why. I mean, for me,
yeah.
paradoxically, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and that's really scary for a lot of people, because they've got a lot invested in their knowingness and how they've lived
Mhm.
their lives and what they've set up, and
Mhm.
people like us come and go, eh, knock knock, and they're like, no, you can't come in.
Get the gypsies off my yard. If you pull out one tarot card, I'm out of here, I swear. Well, hey,
uh,
you're gonna talk to me about hypnotism.
oh shit! All right, yeah. Woo, woo, woo.
Hey,
Okay, so
I'm doing the best I can here.
yeah, me too.
Okay.
You're doing wonderful, Howard. I'm so happy to
Thank
be
you.
here with you. This is
Oh, you're the
fantastic.
best. I'm
No,
so
you're the
happy.
best.
Hypnotism.
So I landed into after that, like hypnotism fell into my lap as fucking Facebook. Wonderful. I think Facebook is some on the level of some sort of like psychedelics can open your
Yeah,
fucking world. Space
yeah.
Facebook. I called it Facebook. Facebook can do that if you don't, get sucked into it. Like, but out
Right.
of the blue, I got this fucking video about hypnosis from this woman. I'm not gonna say any names because I don't want to bash anybody, whatever. But she's like really, you know, famous and rich with her trademark that she made of her hypnosis process. So I watched this and I'm like, this is it. So I set up a call with one of her. I thought it would be with her, but it's so big and so marketed and whatever that it's like you pay a shit ton of money and you might get 5 minutes with her or something like that.
Mm.
So I call a call with her assistant. It was so obvious she was reading a script, and I called her out on it. What makes you think that? I'm like, because I feel like I'm talking to a fucking robot. That's why.
Thank you. Cut and paste, please. Come on. I want a refund. It's like read the bottom, read the back of this box. What? Just
You're right.
nah. Nah.
Yeah.
I get,
Something. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's I was said whatever. This is the entryway. I'm doing it until I found out it was like insanely expensive, and I just didn't have the money for that. And I knew it was going to be like. So I dropped into this deep depression of like, now what? And I called a friend that I had met when I was doing a theater project in Guatemala, that I met there. He was this very unique, special guy, and we sort of kept in touch now and then since then. And I knew that he had become a hypnotist, so I called him and I said, and he's like, Giselle, that's not the only way into hypnosis to become trained and skilled in it. And I'm like, why didn't that occur to me? I'm like, thank
I can't afford to be a hypnotist. Damn
you. Yeah.
it.
So he turned me. He's like, okay, you need to check this person out. You need to check this person out, and then so I just went on this journey of YouTubing, of Googling, of books, and I found my way to the Jackwins. They are in the
Jacqueline's.
UK. Anthony and Freddie Jackwin, father and son team. And that's one of the best things that have happened in my life. And they are so wonderful people. They're so knowledgeable. They taught me not only how to be a hypnotist, but how to have the confidence to trust myself in what I'm doing, regardless if I'm the only one doing it that way, and so accessible and generous in their time and their attention and their knowledge. I mean, you can private message these guys and they respond to you like in 20 minutes, so and this has created a whole community as well. And there's a Facebook group. I'll invite you to that group. You can join that group even if you're not, in hypnosis or whatever.
Sure.
There's so many interesting things like free webinars and Zoom shit going on. And so that happened. And so I as fate would have it, no cause and effect, of course, I became really close friends with both of them, father and son, and a completely different relationship, and because they're completely different people, and it's beautiful. But Freddie, which is the dad, him and I became really close. We've done some COVID karaoke videos together. If you, we started doing those. I took a picture of my deck and then send it to him, and then he superimposed himself on there, so it looks like we're both sitting together. It's so weird. It's so weird. I'm like, whoa, you know. Anyway, we started talking about the not give a we call it the not give a shit ability gene, and how,
Nice.
yeah, and how that really, you have all these workshops and mindfulness and la 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 la, which is great. It helps people with it. But I was like, we got to do a workshop in developing the non-give a shit ability muscle, because that kind of solves all that other shit, and
Right.
it's a lot of fun. Not giving a shit opens the door to a lot of fun, I'll tell you that.
Give me an example. Give me an example of the door that opened for not
Oh,
good.
no, I can't. It's
Ah,
X-rated.
shit. Okay. Thanks for the visual.
My pleasure. Always my pleasure.
Well, this is where everybody pauses and goes. "Hmm." Well, that's amazing. I mean, because the weirdest thing about hypnotism for me, I mean, just as for the sake of a conversation, um, I thought it had something to do with the mentality. I thought it had something to do with the consciousness and all of that kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm not really sure how that works. I mean, how does that work with? I mean, because nobody's really conscious, right? I mean, there's not like a person there that's conscious.
I don't know, Howard. Is that what you believe?
As far as, yeah, I mean, well, if time and space doesn't exist, right, then there's no physical brain, there's no physicality anywhere. I mean,
No,
it's
but it
that's just
does
a story.
exist in the illusion of this
Right.
circus we call life, right?
Right. So the illusion of a consciousness. So we're talking. So that's what I'm getting at. So
Yeah.
we're talking about the hypnot.
Okay.
We're talking about the story of
We're talking about what is.
it.
You can say it doesn't exist. You can say it's not, there's an illusion of time and space, but this is what's happening day in and
Yes.
day out. And yes, it's an illusion, but it's still there.
Right.
So to continue to deny it and like try and fit everything that's occurring into that, mindset, that concept that it's not real, there is no time and space, so there is no consciousness. I don't know if that's fun for you, great, but I find it exhausting. I'm like, just let that all go and let what is happening here.
Well,
Today is Tuesday, right? And it is 12 o'clock my time, not your time.
right.
What time is it? No.
Well, and instead, like I'm trying to say and instead of like but because it sounds so
Good.
negative to say that.
Oh,
But
that's
and
good language. Yes, absolutely.
yeah, and the thing about that is, and I forgot what I was going to say. No, and is okay. So it's the story of that. It's not really anything in particular. I get that, but so what we're talking about here is and we don't. It's the unknowability of it. So it's not really a thing, and there's not really a consciousness or not a consciousness, and it's not really a hypnotist or not a hypnotist. But it's the story of that in this kind of amalgamation of words and the appearance of a reality. So I'm just trying to
Yeah,
figure out how that, just where
yeah.
you were with that,
All right, so I can speak about that a little bit, but I just want to say that I think it's beautiful, and I really see the excitement and the energy in thinking that way and being that way and speaking this way that you're saying. And I love it. I appreciate it. I honor it. And to me, it sounds like such busy work. Like you're constantly like da 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 da. Da. And it's again my perception, but what I had a very to me, it's just like, yeah, we know the truth, or we imagine we know the truth, and then this is happening. So without questioning this and overanalyzing and just being with what is and seeing where it goes and playing and being curious about it,
Mhm,
not assuming that it is that way all the time, and that
mhm,
it can be anything, it can shift in moment to moment. Anyway, so for me, my cognitive dissonance when I first got into hypnosis was, I don't believe, and I think that was even pre non-duality, like I just couldn't accept or believe in the the idea of a conscious and subconscious mind, you know. But this is a model that's used, and for a lot of people, they understand that. And for whatever reason, when um, you go in it that way, and many hypnotists really believe that, and they do it, and maybe that's the way it is for them. But I don't. So, but like it works, you know, not all the time, but it works. So I don't use that model, but I can appreciate and understand why it does work because, you know, there's a lot of people out there that function in a certain way and believe certain things, and that becomes their reality. So when you get a hypnotist that addresses, okay, I'm going to talk to your subconscious mind and da 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 da, and then they quit smoking, or then they lose weight, or then they're free of their anxiety, whatever. So my the Jacquins, Anthony, the son, when I was inquiring and speaking with him because I wasn't sure yet if I was going to go with them or somebody else. Thank God I went with them. But um, through our conversation, I sensed a non-dual, you know, language in there. And so I straight up asked him, and yeah. So he's been into non-duality or he whatever
No
that.
way. No
I
way.
know.
See, this is
So
what I wanted to know. I knew there had to be something in there somewhere. There's
so
got to be some kind of,
so
you
I've
know.
had some wonderful conversations with him. And
Mhm.
when I first was like a very novice and unsure, you know, just getting started on this track, I would just go to him and just throw him all the questions, and he was so supportive. And but he said one thing to me that has stuck, and it made it very easy to let go and just ride the wave and learn and do and see what transpires. I said, I don't believe in this subconscious conscious divide. I don't even
Yeah,
believe
okay.
we don't even have a mind. Like, where is that mind? You know,
There
it's
it
not.
is.
Yeah. So how can I do this? And he said to me, he said, Giselle, it's not necessary to believe. It's only necessary to engage. And I was like,
Ah, I
ah,
like it.
fucking
I
love
like
you,
it.
man.
I
you're,
like
you're
it. I
awesome.
like it. Yeah, okay. Okay.
And another thing he said, I don't think that was to me. I think that might have been in one of the classes or something. But he said, the strangest thing about hypnosis is that it feels, or it can feel, so normal. You know, because we go in there expecting, tell me what to do. I'm a boom. But that's really what drew me into it. And I have my way of talking to people when I get clients. I have my way of explaining it. Um, and in a way that makes sense to me, and and then I work in that way. And one of the things I said, it's like there's really, I mean, like with anything, but especially things that are so mysterious, areas of the mind and human psychology, and you know, um, where you know there's this end of the spectrum that says this is hypnosis. It's a state. You have to be in trance. You have to have your eyes closed. You have to be relaxed. And then you have this, which is it's not. It's happening all the time, and da, 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 and it's you know it's not a state. It's you don't have to be in trance. You don't have to close your eyes, and then everything in between, and who knows what else. So to me, what really blew my mind and made me really curious about this is you take stage hypnosis, which seems to be like, oh, just entertainment and really light stuff. But it's if it's possible to, through suggestion, it's a cooperation, through allowance, like I'm going to hypnotize you because you want to be, it's just fun, let's play with this. And I'm going to make you not be able to say your name, right? So since we're born, the point where we become aware that we are a separate self as a child at some point in our lives, there's that, oh, I'm this person and that's that person, you know. Before that, it's just all one. I don't even know, because can we remember that? I don't know. I don't remember it. It's like
How
one
far do you go back? Right.
I know, right?
Yeah, yeah.
One blob of
Yeah,
being.
right. At the beginning when gravity, separated from the other forces.
Absolutely. So, so this is your identity. This is what your name. It just resonates sound in your body. It's who you are. It's, your whole entire life since you were aware of yourself being a person. And just through this mysterious connection, cooperation, suggestion, the mind, the power of the mind and imagination, which is what all this is all the time anyway, can actually make it so that you can't say your name. Now, I've seen this on YouTube. I've heard this, whatever, and all kinds of other things. But when I finally did it, when I finally made my friend forget or not be able to say her name,
Nice.
she was shocked. I was 10 times more shocked. I was like, and it's so subtle. It's so subtle. There's a part of you that goes, I know I can say my name. I know I can. And yet I can't. And it's just allowing that to be a possibility and to play with it and to explore it.
Well, I got a challenge for you. Hypnotize me to stop me from smoking. It's a real time challenge. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I would, let's do something. I'll be happy to, if
you want to, I'll try it with you. Sure, why not?
Yeah, sure. I'm not gonna do it here and now because that's.
Oh no.
Let's do it. No.
Yeah.
So just to continue on that tangent, to me it was like, people see this as entertainment, ha ha ha, weird, what the fuck? But what are the implications of that, Howard?
Right,
if you really think about it. If you can make somebody say their name and then snap your fingers and there it's back.
Right.
Because your mind and your imagination goes with it, allows it to play with it. What? Stopping smoking? Holy moly, easy as 1, 2, 3,
Well, I have to want to. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Because I like smoking. So
yeah.
You have to make me not want to smoke.
I could do that, but I wouldn't want to. I mean, what's your reason for wanting to stop? Well, no, I don't want to get into it. We'll have a conversation about that.
I don't want to stop.
Yeah, okay. End of story.
I should, but I don't want to.
So one of the big for 5-MeO session on Saturday.
Nice.
No more ever should shouldn't. Not allowed anymore, Howard.
I was looking for like a shortcut, because if you could hypnotize me into not wanting, because I know I do it, I know I shouldn't do it or whatever for health, blah 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 blah. But if I could, if you could circumvent that shoulda, coulda, woulda, and just make it to where I just don't want to do it.
I could do that.
That would be awesome.
We'll give it a try.
And I will never be able to live it down. I would never be able to live it down because I'm like the no consciousness guy, right? And they would be like, well, how did that happen? You know what I'm saying? How did that go? How did you do that?
Yeah.
But I resonate with you on a lot of the things that you were saying. I looked at some of your YouTube stuff. I love the YouTube stuff. Oh my God, it's beautiful. You're amazing.
You.
I love it. I love it. You are amazing. I had to get my head. The reason why I got these headphones, not only for interviews, but specifically because I could not hear you. I could not. I was like, I'm just breaking down. I'm getting some good headphones.
Oh, good.
So I can play. Yeah. So and now I can hear you. So I listened to like 3 of them this morning. It was beautiful. But along some of the lines of what you were saying, if I may, is this whole we're here, we're talking within the context of this story. We have, our lives that we've, through, and here we are now, blah, blah, blah. It's just happening. Well, there are things that happen in my life, in this story of me, that there are no explanations for. There are no explanations for this. It's just, it's those things where you just go, wow, like you said. And, I just wanted to express to you how grateful I am that you are, brave enough to just be yourself, as best, you're just doing the best you can with what you got, and and it's just that you're having fun. There's no real need for an answer in what I see you as doing, just exploring, having fun. And I don't see you like you're drastically, you're not looking for anything. You're just having fun with it. And I applaud you for that. I think you're amazing. And
Hmm.
I just wanted to say thank you because you know, uh, I think I can resonate with you on the little bit of the confinement aspect, of
Yeah.
non-duality. I don't
Right.
know. I didn't want to. I didn't want to end anything there at all. I just wanted to say that while we were on the subject of how magnificent you are.
Oh, magnificent. There's that word again.
Magnificent. There it is. No,
But
truly. I mean, it's
I
beautiful.
really appreciate. Thank you so much. And I feel the same towards you. And I was so excited about talking with you because I can feel it too, you know. There's something about being seen and appreciated at the level of what you're doing. And not many
Yeah.
people get it, and that's okay. I'm still going to
Yeah.
do it because that's who I am. And
Yeah.
I feel that with you. And so I'm really grateful for that. And I see it in you. Like you post so much stuff, and I love it's so. I'm like, where does he find these pictures? It like makes my day. I'm like, I'm not looking at Facebook today. I'm like, no, well, I'm sure Howard posted a pretty picture, so I'll look for a moment. You know?
It's funny. Sometimes I really don't know what at all. I don't have anything in mind. I just like rummage around and then and start posting. But yeah, there's it's a little bit of a marketing tool as well. I like to get them with the pictures and then hit them with a little poetry or something like that.
Yeah,
So
and
I
it's
definitely
beautiful.
use it to my advantage.
I
Yeah.
I really appreciate you too, Howard, and I'm so glad that we've, our lives have collided in this way.
I love it.
Because it is a
Supernova.
collision, man. Sometimes you just bump into somebody, sometimes you just bang.
And the thing about what you were saying before with the frog, before you leave me, and there's no pressure. You can stay as long as you like or leave whenever you like. But
No,
the frog,
I'm gonna take you outside so I can smoke with you.
there you go. See, the hypnotist doesn't even want to stop smoking. I
I
love
know,
it. Now that's
seriously.
beautiful. Now
I
I'm not.
hypnotize people into wanting to smoke.
See, now I'm not.
They're like,
Now
"Can you
the
help me
deal's
quit
off.
smoking?" I'm like, "No, no, no, no. You don't want to quit smoking. Smoking's awesome."
The deal is off. There's no way I'm having a smoking hypnotist. Get me off smoking. There's no way that's happening. Oh my God, the irony.
Yeah, no, I just give people what they want. If they want to
Yeah.
stop, I don't have to stop just because you want to stop. Fuck that.
Well, I just wanted to see if it would work. I don't want to stop. I want you to make me not want to smoke. I just wanted to see if it would
It'll be a
happen.
fun experiment.
No,
It'll be
I'm
a fun
kidding.
experiment.
I don't think it'll work because I still don't want to do it.
Well,
Anyways, I'm kidding about
that's
that.
fine. That's fine. I need to get.
But yeah, uh, the another fun thing that I noticed about some of the links that I was watching, you were talking about how it just kind of happens. Like I started a website recently, right? And
Mm-hmm.
somebody had said came in. I had a group meeting yesterday on Facebook, and a beautiful young lady comes in, and we start talking, and like a entire school fell into her lap, and she was like, I didn't mean for this to happen, but it's just kind of happening. And what do you think about that? And I equated it to kind of what's going on in my life, and to be honest, kind of what I hear happening in yours, in that you don't necessarily have a goal in mind. Things just kind of happen. It never occurred to me, to think to get from like A to B or anything like that. But see, I would also be fibbing if I didn't say that it didn't occur to me like throughout my life to set up a web page. I've been asked before, right? So the money fell out of the sky, and there was a guy that I know that does that kind of stuff, and he's totally available, and he's like wanting to do it. He's into what I'm talking about. And so it just kind of happened. It was beautiful. And things spiral from there, and all these things just kind of happen. And she, it was so amazing because we had this beautiful little moment, and she we just kind of, it's like, do we know what reality is? Do we know what, is there a reality, true or false, right or wrong? All of that, it's completely irrelevant. The reality of this, the appearance of us having a good time, and lifting the spirits of somebody. Yeah, is that illusory? Who gives a, it's just contact, like engagement, like your
Well,
teacher said.
what 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 I've noticed and experienced and been living, and that's been so intensified since the you know, this fucking, it's a natural substance that's available to us. It comes from a fucking toad. Like, if that's not the biggest
Nice.
joke in the universe, I don't know what is, you
Well,
know?
the thing with the toad, though, I didn't think it was. I didn't
It's a
see anything that
toad.
was that big a deal. You're saying that it's way bigger than I thought it was.
It's
The
so
whole toad
big.
experience.
It's
Really?
so it is the biggest thing to experience. And I literally said that to my friend when I was writing. I was trying to find that, but anyway, um, you know, it is probably the strangest and the most intense experience available to a human being on this planet. And that's coming from a woman who squeezed out a 9.5 pound baby out of her yoni with a head like this big, you know? I honestly, crazy, crazy, crazy. But what's become more clear is that we are it. And there is no one way it is. It is however it is appearing. That's why when you get stuck and focused into like one thing, like non-duality or Christianity or I don't know, Nazis, whatever, that's
Yeah.
what you get. I don't know why.
Jewish Nazis, falling out of the sky, dogs and cats living together.
You get, you know? And it's just it's so weird, but I feel like I know this to be true. And if it is or isn't doesn't really matter, but I feel like that's what it's doing. It's just creating and it's just morphing and transforming into whatever the energies and the focus is. That's why when shit comes out of the blue that you have no explanation for it, that could be considered a miracle, like money literally falling out of the sky. I had that literally happen. It didn't fall out of the sky, but it did fall like out of nowhere into my lap. And it's like um those aren't rare, unique, random experiences. It's like whatever you are, which is everything, is in tune to its awareness of itself and what it wants or what it's focusing on. So most people, because that's part of the game for whatever reason, they're focused on what they don't want, the troubles of being alive, and that's all real and true as well. But when you start to be more sensitive to that, and that's where the psychedelics help because they blow all that shit out of the water. They allow you to see your true essence and what this is, however it appears to you, but it's way more powerful and true than non-duality, Christianity, Nazis, whatever. It's like, oh, I get it now, however that appears to you. And then you recognize whatever you focus on, you start creating. You might not be aware that that's what you've always wanted, but you did say that. You, to be honest, you've been thinking about this for a while, and now here it is happening. So I think in the illusion of time and space, it's like the quickening right now. More people are awakening in the illusion of time, and this has been around forever. I mean, in fact, psychedelics, if you look into the scriptures and the Buddha, like all of this stuff, how did fucking Egyptians do what they did? Yeah, I mean, what the hell? The Egyptians are crazy. It's all in the mind, and then it manifests pretty quickly recently, pretty almost immediately, which is kind of scary, the power in that. It's kind of
Right.
scary because you have to be really conscious of yourself, of what you want, and just, or at least in staying in tune with what is, and not going into the fear of the future or the traumas of the past. And if you do it with a hypnotist.
Ah, well, one of my things. Talking to people with pain and stuff like that, and dealing with all manner of suffering. Um, everybody's different. Everybody's completely, totally a universe into themselves. So everybody's gonna have you're gonna have a different kind of take for everybody. But my specific kind of dealing with problems is I like to go right at it and all of that kind of thing, and just get it, wallow in there, and the sweet misery is being part of it. um
Yeah.
and that's but the thing about hypnotism, the that just it just the entire subject of non-duality and hypnotism is it's so perfect because it deals with those contrasts, but yet they exist. I mean they appear as
Yeah.
synchronicity. So yeah, and synchronicity being a misnomer and all of that kind of thing. But you know it's the first time I heard it, I thought, that is the absolute perfect way to go at it, because the for me, consciousness doesn't exist, so why not go right into that and view, well, if consciousness doesn't exist, then how is this hypnotizing? What is hypnotist? What is a hypnotist, or what is hypnotizing? And then to hear that you have an instructor that knows all about non-duality, you yourself are into it. I think that's perfect. I think that's perfect for me, because
It's
the
breaking
contrast of it.
yeah, absolutely. It's breaking okay, so it's breaking that shit down. Like you
Right.
what what is it with you, Howard? Like, is it a semantics thing? Like, why are you so convinced that consciousness doesn't exist? Like, what do you see as consciousness, and why do you think it, like, what is that? I just think it's such a
Well,
weird thing
it's
that you're really into this, you
well,
know?
see, yeah. Well, it's a pointer that I've been working on for quite some time, since I was about 8. And my experience was that the whatever the shift or whatever, I immediately knew that there were no things. There was no separation at all, and nothing mattered. Nothing. You can't do anything or say anything or be anything, or there's nothing you can attain or lose. That's
Yeah.
there's none of that is real. But at the same time, the interesting part about it is, gosh, you go into that. It's the thing is that there is no individual in time and space, but at the same time, an individual in time and space, and the consciousness that they attach themselves to, is all they know to be real, but they can't define themselves nor their consciousness. So what it is, it's basically like saying, energy is energy, or whatever, like I can use that analogy, I guess. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. But Einstein himself said, but if energy's uh, definition is one system doing work on another, but both systems are made of energy, then it's like saying energy is made of energy. And it's the same thing with reality, existence itself. To say, consciousness is all there is, um, but you don't know or have a definition of a self, because you're not your mind, and your mind is telling you a story about a physical brain that you are not, also culminating in thought and consciousness. You are rolling around a story about a brain in time and space, told to by a mind, by said brain, but it's none of it is validated. So in the and that's not just an individual, that's just not me, that's the state of man. And if you want to believe in time and space and a secular chain of events, the
But
thing is that,
how can you know? Sorry to interrupt.
no, go ahead, it's your
How,
I'm talking too much.
my head is swirling around your words, and I hear, and I also don't understand, and sometimes understand. But how do you know that is the state of man. I mean, how do
It's
you
the
know that?
state. It's the state of consciousness. In that, I don't
You
know
just,
that. No,
yeah.
the definition or
But
description
who made up
of
the definition? It's just another human being who is nothing different than you or me. Just like
exactly.
Einstein was just another human being, and whatever he came up with took took shape and took form and
Mhm,
influenced a whole shit of reality in people's
mhm.
minds and
It
stuff.
appears to, as
Yeah,
Einstein would say,
yeah,
it
yeah.
would it appears to have happened. Yes.
But yeah,
Yeah. So what it is the story of, say, the Egyptians. Okay, the Egyptians in thousands of years ago made these pyramids. All right, the Buddha. Okay, wrote all these beautiful things, or somebody wrote them for Buddha, or however that story goes, or how you want to believe it.
yeah,
All of these different things that happen throughout history and time and space don't actually happen in a linear chain of events. They appear to be here, just manifesting now. They're
sure,
manifesting as old or new or whatever. You can make these things seem as if they're old or new for whatever you want to believe, or within that paradox. But the reality of it is you can't know it. See, it is an unknowing, in that you can't know that there's a future or a past. That is a simple fact. You can
right,
believe it, but it's
yeah,
not something you can know. Likewise, you cannot know that you have a brain in time and space carried around by a body, and all this physical stuff is real, and the mind is telling you an accurate story. In fact, is impossible. Even if you do exist in time and space, your mind is telling you a story of slightly before actuality or slightly after. Otherwise, you would be seeing things all splotchy. It wouldn't be smooth. Otherwise, you'd be going through processing information faster than the speed of light, which you can't do in a physical world of time and space. So what you are seeing it's not real. Okay, it's either, even if you want to believe the story of a mind that the mind is telling about a brain in time and space, it's still not real. So the thing about it, the reason why I'm talking fast and all this, because I'm just trying to give you I mean, we can. I mean,
yes.
I'm talking.
Your
I've been talking about.
philosophy since you were 8 years old, like
Yeah.
10 minutes.
So it's one of these things where, like, I've studied all these different stuff, and I'm trying to come up with a way to logically show some folks every now and again can get it, and that's a beautiful thing. But you can get them logically to understand the subjective nature of existence and the subjective nature of themselves, the subjective nature of their reality. And
Yeah,
once they get that, your hands are, then they go off and do, they take that logic and turn it into unlogic, unknowing, because ultimately there is no knowing, not in an objective sense, because you can't know whether this story of this reality is true. It's not a choice, it's the
it doesn't
reality of
matter.
consciousness. It's the only thing that the closest thing to an objective truth that a human being can have, or a conscious entity can have, is that you can't know for sure anything. So
Right.
that's the only objective truth we have, and in that you can expand that in any direction you wish, but it's getting people to logically understand the subjective nature of consciousness throughout whatever belief you want to have within evolution or what have you. Billions of people throughout billions of years living and dying, none of them will ever know objectively whether they are not they're experiencing a reality at all, or if
And why
you
is
know
that? It's a sandbox, right? Why? Because why does that matter? Why is that important or not important? Like, why even? It's a
well,
sandbox.
right, it's a sandbox, but it's the pointer that can use the illusion of the separation and like a shared reality. We can't know, I can't tell you what the color blue looks like, right?
Yeah.
I can't tell you what ginger smells like. I can't tell you, what warm water is, right? But we can both understand that we can't tell each other that. We can both understand that subjective nature of those things that appear, well, that's just the way it is, but it's not this. We can't share that. We can't. And that, within that parameter of, okay, so I'm that subjective, and you are that subjective in that reality, then everything becomes okay. So it's not me and you talking, it's the story of two people talking that can't share a reality. And within you can go a million ways with it. It just goes everywhere from that
Yeah.
point. So, and from that aspect, you can go to hypnotism or whatever play. I love that, the sandbox. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can go
yeah.
to whatever sandbox you want because it's all subjective.
And I think that's the two sides of the coin of existence. I really do. I think that's what you're saying is one side, like there's, you know,
Mhm,
and the other side is it is Howard and Giselle with his
mhm,
history and coming
mhm,
together and how we ever came together in
mhm,
story and
mhm,
sharing stuff and
mhm.
laughing and all that. That's you know,
It's like this the paradox of, say, people say it's just this and it can't be anything else, but it's not as it appears. Okay, so
yeah,
it's the story of us, but it is us. And you say that, it is and it isn't. We do and we
yeah.
don't exist.
That was that was super super clear on the 5-MeO. And I think that's why there was so much laughter because I was like, oh my God. Um,
and
it was like,
that's the
what?
beautiful thing.
I was like, oh my God. I I witnessed, and it was not like a Giselle witnessing with concepts or philosophies that she studied or understood. Maybe that influenced who the hell's to know. But what happened was there was this huge like opening up and nothing changed at all except
That's right.
everything was different.
That's
And
right.
and what it was we are all God. Every and I don't mean like we're God. I mean we're all source, whatever this is. We are
Mhm.
all that. Everything is that. And it's like so it's nothing. It's so ephemeral. But at the same time, it's like it is not nothing to be everything, to be God, to be source. That's not nothing when
Right.
you wake up to that. But it was also completely insignificant
Hmm.
and meaningless,
Right.
but so
Yes.
massive and epic, so much that my heart was like bam, 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 you know,
Yeah.
crazy, you
Yeah.
know. And then you come back, like when whatever. It was also very time. I had no idea how long we were. I know it's quick.
Mhm.
I mean, quick in the sense it's not more than half an hour. But when the Giselle character came back to being here and now, whatever,
Mhm.
my body was still charged, like literally vibrating, and the awareness in that experience did not dissipate, did not go, oh, that's just because I was high on psychedelics. It was like on, and it's
Mhm.
been on ever since.
Love it.
Yeah, but it's toned down because I've been like, I can't fucking do life like this. It's too much, like
See,
you just turn the volume down a little bit, turn it up when it's necessary, turn it down when it's like, you know.
yeah, that's I get that as well. You know, it's the shift never stops. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah.
and the thing about it is that I'll get questions. I'll get people like say, "Dude, are you obsessed or what?" And the weirdest thing is yeah. Well, the weirdest thing is that I can't. I don't. It's not like I stopped doing it. Like it's funny. I'm doing that when I'm just doing whatever I want to do, and then when I'm doing Facebook, it just so happens that I'm doing that on Facebook. So it's kind of like that's just the way I am, and it's kind of the way I've always been.
Yeah.
And within that story, so but within that story too, I have things that I find fascinating about time and space, about you, and well, specifically because I just love the way you openly talk about things that are completely contradictory, and you know what? There's no other way not to be there's no way not to contradict yourself. So
Yeah.
I had an experience last month where any, to say it was synchronicity would be kind of, it would be shortcoming. And the
Downplaying.
thing, and the thing about it is that they happen. That's my story. My story is, it just constantly, things like that occur where, I can't really tell you specifically how did that happen, but the reality is like I'll get a voice or some kind of thing, and it'll tell me to say something out loud. Yeah.
Mm.
It'll tell me to say, and I'll say it out loud. That's say it again. This happened last month. I said this thing 3 times. I was like, oh, I heard that. I've heard that voice, kind of all my life. So I know when it's on. It, that's, I know what it is, and I'm like, you know, and you wouldn't believe what happened. And I don't want to say it on camera, but you would not believe the synchronicity of what happened.
Why
And
don't you say it? Just out of curiosity.
well, okay, you know what? I'll say it. Okay, I'll say it. This is gonna be great. This ties in. This ties in. Are you sure you want to hear this?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, okay, everybody, here it comes. No, this is just
You're
a
just
little
talking to
thing that
me,
happens.
Howard. No.
Well, this is just the way it is. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not lying
yeah,
about
yeah.
it. It's the way it happened. I don't care, but it's just a little, you can reason it out any way you want. But here's the reality. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at Andreas Mueller's links, right? And I'm looking at this link, and immediately the little backstory. A friend of mine, like a few years ago, whatever it was, uh, you know, I kept talking about immediate experience is the only thing you can know. No, you're not conscious. This is not. And she said, "Well, I'd heard this guy," and she gave me this Andreas Mueller link, and I heard 10 minutes of it. I was like, "Yes, it was Frank," and it was Frank and Andreas Mueller, that interview. And I heard 10 minutes. Of it, I was like, "Yes, yes, thank you." Thank you. I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Oh my God, thank you." And that's it. And you don't really need to hear a whole lot of it. I mean, it's
Right,
pretty
right, right.
straightforward. Yes, that's right. And it was just a better way of saying it than I had been saying it. And so I loved it. This and that. And he's always kind of, because of that intro to this, not the nouveau, Tony Parsons' whole deal, right? It's just this and all that. It's just, he's the first guy that I heard on that. So it's always been like, somebody I like, or style I like. And I for I can't remember for what reason, but I was watching this link, and I saw, and he said something, and I said, "Now, oh man, if I could talk to him about that, if I could talk to him about that, if I could just talk to him about that for 2 minutes, I wonder what he would say, about this thing I had to say about it." And all of a sudden, I got this little thing inside that said, "Say I will talk to him by the end, by the end of his, at his next retreat." And I was like, I knew his next retreat was like the next weekend, and it was like $150. I was like, "There's no way that's going to happen. I'm not going to $150 on anybody." So, I've never
All
done
right
anything like
there.
that. Yeah, no, that's not happening. And he says, he goes, and he said, "Say it out loud. You're gonna talk to this guy at the retreat." I
Mm.
said, so I said it. I'm going to talk to Andreas Miller at the retreat. Say it again. I'm going to talk to Andreas Miller. Say it third time. I'm going to talk to
Oh,
Andreas
that's
Miller.
so cool.
And, and then like the next day, I got some interview with another guy, and one of his editors heard me say something about Andreas Miller. They asked me, "What do you like?" And I said, "Well, Andreas Miller is amazing," and I told him the story. And an editor, after the thing was done, a guy, an editor, said, "Hey man, do you want to go? I got an extra ticket." And I was like, "Oh yeah, man, fuck me." So he gives me the ticket, right? And I'm like, that's bizarre. Okay, I had no idea that none of that was going to happen. The next thing I know, I'm at the retreat, and I'm like, I've never done this before. I don't know how to do this, right? Which was evident every time I tried to go to any Zoom, non-dual meeting. I was essentially kind of laughed out of the room, because I was like, "Well, you guys don't think you're conscious, right?" And it's like everybody's like, everybody's just laughing at me, like, "Oh, you just don't understand yet." I'm like, yeah. Anyway, so I got kicked out of like every non-dual thing I'd been to. So here I am at Andreas's, and I'm like, and and I'm like not gonna talk. I'm gonna be polite. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna shut my mouth, and I'm just gonna go along with this thing, right? And sure enough, like in a minute and a half, I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. You know, like I said, hey, you know, along the lines of what that guy just said, if I can have 5 minutes of your time, you know, um, I would really appreciate it. It's not a got you. I love you. I just want to, you know, make a point on what you just said. And we went through the you know, and he said, and he looked at me, he's like, okay. You know, he was like, all right. So I got like 11 people, you know, just like, oh, this asshole, you know, he's going to take all the time or whatever. So now all of a sudden I'm under the gun and here I am talking to Andreas Mueller, you know, and I'm like, okay. And I'm walking him through this logical process, you know, da, 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 da. And at the end, I'm like, so, and I look at him and he looks at me and he goes, hmm. And I said, you see what I'm saying? And he goes, I said, so you don't have to do this like this, right? And he looks at me and he goes, hmm. I said, you don't have to do it like this. And he goes, no, you don't have to do anything. You know, he was like, yeah, I see what you're saying. No, you don't have to do anything at all. You know, I mean, but at the end, it was just the way he looked at me. And,
Yeah.
you know, it was like, like we understood each other at that moment or whatever.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so I stopped. Everybody kind of, you know, interrupted him, and I just kind of backed out. I was nervous. I didn't realize he was going to agree with me or like have it. So I didn't know what to do at that point. You know, I just kind of backed off, and so everybody starts asking the same questions. You go back to that menu of, you know, question A, you know, answer B, and I just left, and I was like, okay, I don't need to see 3 hours of this, so so I just left, and he called me, um, or he messaged me after the retreat, and he said, let's talk. And I was like, no way, you know, this is insane. And the next thing I know, you know, we're talking. And you know, again, you know, I studied his things and stuff like that. And the next thing I know, we're having a conversation. I basically, you know, said, hey man, I love you. I have nothing against you or anything like that. It's all just language, you know. Um, I just wanted to see where you were at on that. And he's like, no, you know, I mean, we could, you know, you're totally free to do whatever you want and this and that, da, 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 da. So I just wanted to hear that, you know, from that train of logic. And I actually talked to my friend uh, Kim McCaster, I think, McAllister. I can't remember his last name, but anyways, he's a very nice guy. But anyways,
Mhm.
I was talking to him, and he told me how good I was with people, and that was what gave me the courage to ask you for an interview. And you
Mm.
said yes, and when you said yes, you know, I said, you know what? I only live once. I'm going to ask Andreas Mueller. You know, so I asked Andreas Mueller for an interview, and he called me and he messaged me right back. He said, "Sure." I was
Yeah.
like, "What?" He's like my favorite, you know, non-dual speaker, you know,
Yeah.
and this whole and just the way that happened. Like, look, you can rational that out any way you want to, you know. I mean, it's no big deal. It's not like the Earth moved, but it's just this little thing. How did that happen? I don't know, but
It's
that's the story of my. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? I mean, this
it
little,
is. It is. It's
you
like
know,
life unfolding into your desires and what you want, you know? And
I,
after all, for me, after going through all this stuff and like, you know, diving in like a freaking warrior to like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do 5 MEO, even though I said no way, you know. It's like it's what's left is for me is, and I think it could be this way for most people if they can let go and is look, who knows what this is, but here we are in this body. This
Mhm,
body is a vehicle for enjoyment
mhm.
and pleasure, all kinds, you know, like tasting foods, smelling good smells, physical, you know, connection and sex and all that, you know. And I was like, why not? Because when we go, wherever we go, what, you know, the back to the infinite source, to the void, to the oneness, to the fucking DMT, astral dimensions, who knows? But here we are here in this. So I'm like, let's enjoy the fuck out of this.
And and
You know?
and 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 this is where I love it. And I'm so sorry I just interrupted you. Like I know I
No,
shouldn't
that's
do
fine.
that.
That's fine.
Well, it's like yes. Now that's so beautiful because it it entails, you know, stories of beyond the immediate experience, unless you're, you know, the levels of consciousness and mind imagination. But the reality of it is that yes, it is just this, right? I mean, it's just this, but it's also, we can't express it. We can't say it. We can't, we don't know. There's no way, because it's not duplicity. It's so simple because nobody's, and this is my thing, but nobody's thinking. So there's nobody's hooked to a source for a thought. Like my website is called sourcelessness, because there's no, but it could be the same as source, because
Yeah.
if everybody's the source, then there's no, it's not going anywhere. It's the source is sourceless. It's
Yeah.
sourcelessness. And so there's no real foundation anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So you have this like sourceless just blooming, coming out of nowhere and nothing. And
Mm.
no matter how you want to express that, with how you were just talking about it and all this, people can say, well, that's just not this way or that way or whatever. You know what? We can't express it. We can't use words to say what we've experienced or what we've seen. And we can't even say that we experience anything, because that's not the way it works. So it's impossible, because words are duplicitous. Words involve 2 points in time and space. And what we're talking about is not 2 points in time and space. There is no separation, not two. So
Mm.
that's the thing. You have no source, you have no destination, there is no path, right?
Yeah.
So, and what is happening just blooms out of nothing and nowhere. And all of the little things that somebody wants to say, that somebody else might say, well, that's not this or that, blah 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 blah. Yeah, the only thing I can say about that is, yeah, it's just this, but this is unspeakable, this is unnameable,
Yeah.
this is undefinable.
It
So
just seems it is. I totally agree that it's blooming out of nowhere, and it's coming, and it's not in space and time, but it's playing out in the illusion of
right,
space and time.
right.
And what I've noticed is that it responds to you,
Hmm.
because it is you.
Hmm.
So it's, and if you really think about it, or just not even think about it, but just experiment with it and observe it, it's like that person, is in this way in life and believes these things, and that's what they get more of,
Hmm.
and can you control what you think and experience in life? I don't know, but at
Nah.
some point, no, you just who you are, because it's just how whatever the source is appearing as, or the sourcelessness is appearing as that. But awakening to that, which I have no doubt is what's happened here, I see that it does respond to your
Yes,
desires, to
it's
your
that's yeah.
expression that you want, how you want to be in this dream. It
Mm,
really does, and
right.
spec it's magnificent. You know.
I hadn't thought about that, but that's a good way to say it. The response in the story character, say, um, it's in another one of these things where to articulate what I want to say, it
Yeah.
would take a novel. I mean, it would literally take 1,000
Yeah.
pages, and I would still be wrong. But the you know it, there is no right or wrong,
Mm.
and anything within the like somebody was saying yesterday, what difference does it make if I believe in if I believe in fairies, or whatever? And I said there's absolutely no difference whatsoever, and you believe whatever you like, and if that's what you want to do. I kind of like, or my experience is, the less I believe something, the less I believe, the less I assume,
And the
the
more that,
more the more everything just comes. It just makes
yeah, yeah,
sense.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
It's counterintuitive, and that you lose your light. Okay, I mean, I'll say this: you lose yourself, and your environment becomes enlightened. You know,
Hmm.
you dissipate, but everything just starts just blooming, and
Yeah,
it's like, and it's that kind of paradox with I
it's
mean,
all one big paradox, isn't it? It's just so crazy.
it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful, Giselle, that
It is, it is. It's glorious. It's so glorious. Yeah.
it's this thing where I thought, I at times I just look at it, because I've always loved the paradox. I've always loved it, that it's unexplainable. And it's to the point where there's so many times in my life where I'm just laying there and I'm thinking, I mean, it's perfect. To the point where, am I creating this? It's like I don't exist, but yet it seems like I'm creating the exact thing that I love, because
Yeah.
it's that perfect to me. It's that
Oh, that's
perfect.
awesome.
Oh my God,
So awesome.
yeah. So I don't know, Giselle, have I lost your attention?
No, you haven't. It makes me want to say a little bit of something like creating what you want and the perfect and the beauty and what feeds you as, as a human in your life story. And I recently had something come up and it's been so magical and beautiful, a connection with another human being. And then the characters, the human, like
Yeah.
the attachments, and when everything's always shifting and it started to look different and sound different, and I'm like, fuck, and I'm like, you know expectations and attachments and heartache and shit, and I'm like, what happened here? And then there was just such a beauty and witnessing that and not
Mhm.
judging myself and just going, yeah, I am still a human being in this, whatever this is. And these feelings come up, and when it got to the point where it just was really, really limiting and a little bit painful, because it was taking away from my experience and an appreciation of what is, because
Yes.
I was wanting something else in the future, or even in that moment. So I did this massive, like, clearing for myself and just letting it go, and I wept, and I just like I and it wasn't had nothing to do with them. It was all what I had created within me about
Mhm.
them and expectations and all that I already said. And then it was like very sad because it was letting go of a dream, or a possibility or a fantasy. Not that that won't happen, but the attachment to it, and the, like, driving that towards that was just
Right.
gone. And so just letting that go. And that when I did that massive clearing, like literally 20 minutes later, it's like, okay, now you're ready, madame. Here's your 5-MeO DMT, darling.
Nice. The
You know,
universe just has like a white towel over their
I know,
forearm. It's
right? Like, okay,
like
now you're, and seriously, that just
rivet.
like, oh, I
So what is that? What is the process? What do you got to do to ingest this stuff?
So the irony of this is that it's so simple. Like, my friend and I are going to be making DMT because DMT is easy. I mean, it's three ingredients and it's just a process, and you just got to, be smart about it, make sure you get your measurements right, and you got DMT, you know?
Mhm.
So when we had that experience and how life-changing that was, we're like, it's so obvious that we got to go, and we're going to make these have these sacred ceremonies for people all over, you
Mhm.
know, they come to us, we go to them. And then the frog came in, and I'm so glad it did, because it took us both to not like a higher level, but it was like any fear or any, like, attachments to the visuals and the expectations of DMT were just like shattered, so that we can really be great fucking hosts for this shit, masters of ceremonies.
Nice.
But yes, but this is not what we did, but this is how the 5-MeO gets done. It comes from a frog, a toad. So this toad has the equivalent, almost equivalent need for water as a fish does. All right. So
Mhm.
it spends about 9 months under the ground in the earth, getting its water from being deep in the earth. And then when
Mhm.
the monsoons come in certain aspects of the desert, like they come here, these frogs come out and hang out on our fucking deck. I had no clue the magic in those frogs.
Right.
I'm gonna look at them so different this year when they come out again. But anyway, um,
What, they're around they're around your
yeah, they're like
house?
all over our
Get
deck.
out of here.
No,
You're fibbing. You are
no,
fibbing.
oh,
No.
it's so
You have the
weird.
attack of the psychedelic frogs all around you naturally.
Absolutely. And I
You
used
are
to be like,
lying to me.
ew, gross.
No. Are you? You're gonna be out there with like
I'm
lobster
like,
traps.
ah,
You're gonna have like lobster traps. There's gonna be like
ah.
a side road show,
It's
sideshow show.
crazy. So
Are
people
you kidding me?
know, and they're really sacred and holy. And I'll tell you this little anecdote in a minute. But what you do is the poison, which is the 5-MeO, it's a poison. So when they get scared, they shoot that out, and it, of course, like numbs and shocks the whatever their predators are. But it comes out of their legs, so you have to be really gentle and careful not to hurt it, and squeeze the venom out of their legs, and then you shoot it at a, you squeeze it in onto a glass, or you can do a mirror. Like mirror used to be just for cocaine, now you can use it for 5-MeO. You know, you just squeeze it.
You're not looking for a corporate job or anything, are you? Giselle said no.
I'm not gonna
Forget the
use that
corporate. The
referral. If I
corporate
ever
world's not
do, I
for
will
me.
put this video on YouTube, you know, to get to know me better.
Yeah. The new member of the PTL. I just thought I'd go ahead and just show you these links up front. Well, now I'm upset because I want to go to Arizona. So
Yeah, absolutely, you can use it. So anyway, this stuff dries, and you scrape it off and you smoke it. That's
you
it.
gotta be kidding me! Like
No,
in a
that's it.
joint or something, you wrap it up, you
You
put it in a
smoke it.
pipe.
The best way is a meth pipe. Like one of those glass pipes. That's the best
Really?
here, and that's how we did it. Actually, the pipe that my friend brought, who had it, got clogged really quick. So then we just used this, which is just like, I
Oh,
don't
like little, yeah,
Yeah, like a one-hitter pipe. I have no
yeah,
idea
yeah,
how this came into my possession. I
yeah.
found it in the drawer here, and I was like, "Oh, this should work," you know.
Amongst the batteries and rubber bands and stuff.
Exactly. You snatch into no striking box, you know.
There's a junk drawer. There's got to be a one hitter in the junk drawer. Come on. It's like having golf clubs in the garage. Everybody's got like a club somewhere.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So how much did it take? I mean, you spoke one, two,
Well,
three
that's
hits.
the thing with it takes a lot to a lot of the venom to get stuff to smoke. But my friend had it. It was all crystallized, and he had enough.
Wow.
He had
And
enough.
this is your long lost buddy,
I
and
know.
then you guys just hooked up. That's amazing. I
He,
love that
he
story.
used to live right down this, like, I'm on a little bit higher on the hill, and he used to live like right down there. So we used to be in each other's lives quite often.
Right.
For 8 years ago, and I remember one time when he came over and he wanted to show us his tattoo, and it's in our living room.
Right.
He takes down his pants, and he's got a massive, like, thick black Om sign on his ass cheek, like covering
Home.
the whole Om. So when we were at the river and he had his down, and then
And that's your boy. Okay.
he got up and he's like, after he calmed down, he's like, "I'm going in the river." I'm like, "Good call." And he gets up and walks away. I'm like, "Hey, I've missed that Om sign."
Oh no. Oh my God.
Seriously, there's all kinds out there, Howard.
Oh my
All
gosh. Yeah.
kinds.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? To be honest with you, the hardest people that initially for me to communicate with, um, I'm so used to contrarians. I'm so used to trying to walk people through these processes, and you just run into the contrarian. They're always there, and I don't know. I guess I'll just use drunken lazy language, but conditioned to kind of be in this position of, okay, let me explain, da 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 da. But in any case, I forgot what I was going to say. What were we talking about?
The hardest people for you to talk
Oh,
to.
the hardest people have been as of late, and I keep saying this, but it keeps happening, and it's like the relationships um become deeper. They become it's the people that I resonate with or resonate with me. And I'm so used to like being combative or or being in that kind of mode of back and forth, rather than a flow. And when
Yeah.
when the flow happens, it's so surreal for me. Um, because I just had so few people in my life that can listen to what I said, and I'll sit there, some people get it, no time at all. Some people it might take hours, and I mean, it goes years. I mean, and you never know. There are some people I've been talking to for years, and they still square
Yeah.
one, and it's I mean, that's beautiful. But there are other people who like yourself and like
Yeah.
Andres and Kim and just all these amazing, beautiful people that
Yeah. That's right.
I'm meeting, that all of a sudden it's like there's this, there's no uh, there's no conflict, there's no need for no. Everybody understands, there's no, and if somebody asks you a question, it's just because they just want to hear you talk or for whatever reason. But it's not about a final answer. There's no pressure there. So when I get to that level, and it's happened several times over these past few weeks, where you're just like, wow, you know, I could just sit with somebody and be okay. Where we both understand,
Yeah.
what I'm saying,
And a
and
lot of, and
it's
laughing.
beautiful.
I think it's. I mean, I don't know if that happens with you all the time, but just the laughter in there, the appreciation and the.
I'm telling you what. I mean, people. Look. I've never. I've done some crazy things, and there's a lot of ups and downs in my life. Absolutely. And I'm not saying that my story is unlike any other, um, but I wouldn't trade it. And there's a thing about um, just it's- I just have never seen it as mundane. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
even the mundane seems so infinite to me. That
Yeah.
all you gotta do. This is, I mean, all I, what I like to do is imagine, uh, just imagine what I can't know or what I don't know about any particular thing around me, even when it's boring or something. I'm waiting in an office or something's going on, and I'll look at a bottle cap and wonder about what that bottle cap is and how that bottle cap seems to exist in front of me. And
That's
I could sit there for all day. I could sit all day and think about a bottle cap. And
yeah.
the reality is that I can't know. But the more the it's like the more I look
Yeah.
at things, the more I see, the more and the thing about being disabled, I've had a lot more time to look and to process like pain and things of that level and go through like. And
Mm,
here's another thing where I resonate with you, in that we're dealing with the story of pain, the story of some of this stuff is pretty ugly, it's harsh, and pain really is one of those things where there's no lying involved here. There's no middle ground. There's no slippage
yeah.
in what is real and what is not real. Pain is pain. And when to be able to be in that position and learn how to work with that, and to work through it, and to actually laugh, and to
Mm,
just deal with it as it is. It is it's been remarkably beneficial. Somebody the other day called me and asked me what I did about boredom. They're like, I'm so bored. What do
mm,
you do about
that's
boredom?
yeah.
And I said, well, I started giving them suggestions, and they're like, well, yeah, this, that,
Did
doesn't
you
sound
tell
too
them to take up
enlightening. I
knitting?
told them I don't get bored. I said, I just
Mm,
don't get bored. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell somebody that, well, I mean, you got your arms and your legs, and you got a totally healthy human being, and you can do anything you want to do. And you're calling me, asking me what I do about boredom. And I'm telling you that I don't get bored and I can't move. So,
You
I
in a
mean, but that's
wheelchair?
the reality.
Are you in a wheelchair?
Yeah, I'm 99% like to say I'm in my bed 99% of the time. I can walk a little bit, but it's very painful. And
Is
it's,
that is did something happen, or is this just a genetic thing, or?
no, well, I was, see, that's another one of those things. I was shown that when I, with my, the awakening story, I was shown that I would be handicapped. So I knew I'd be here. And, in that way, I know that sounds insane, but I don't care. It
No,
is
it
what it
doesn't.
is.
I'm
I've
not.
always, it's always been that way. I've always known that I would be here, so here I am. But I was shown some other stuff, and that's what got me on the time and space, because I always saw things before they happened, and it was one of
Mm,
those things where I knew that time and space wasn't real, and that's how I got on it. I mean, it's just this amazing, bam, unexplainable thing, blah blah blah, and some very specific things happened after the fact that I like telling the people around me, look, this is going to happen, and it happened, and very, it's one of those things where it changed my life forever, and
mm.
as in this story. But so I again forgot where I'm going with this, but that's what I resonated with you on so many levels, because I know it's just this, but just this can't be expressed. And there are just things that cannot be explained. There are things
So did you have an
just,
accident or something, or
oh no, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that
that's
was
where
it.
we're going?
Yeah, no, I got hurt in the Navy, and
Oh wow.
yeah, I knew I had a fear of, not a fear, but I didn't want to go to the doctors. I didn't want to get operated on, because I knew that it's just something I didn't want to do. And so finally I had to do it, through it. I joined, after I got out of the Navy. I worked my way up to get a restaurant. I had my own restaurant for like 10 years or so. Did
Oh,
some
cool.
ironworks, yeah, and all this kind of stuff.
I'm a
But it
huge
really
fan.
worked hard. I mean, I worked hard. I like worked really hard, like in the just 24/7, in order to family stuff and blah blah blah. I had to do what I had to do, but it wore me out, and I had to get the surgery. So I finally go in there, and I walked in, and I worked until the day before I went to my surgery, and I haven't walked since. So and I haven't been
Wow.
able. Yeah, so it's kind of, I knew it was. I told my mom, I was like, you know, this this is this is it, and she was like, "You're crazy." I said, uh, you know, since okay,
So let me ask
yeah,
you, do you feel like if you hadn't gone into the surgery, you would have still kept going?
I could have kept walking, um, but it would have been very painful. I mean, it was very.
Mm.
I had no choice. I had no choice. I had gone from just, I was always just a mover and a shaker. I love, I just always hard party, hard charging, hard working, just love life. And to the to the extent of, like, but I was hurt really young. I was 18, I think, and I was hurt in a fire, and I'm in the Navy, and I got a medical discharge, and but it was a long process. It's just a long 30 years of every step I took. Just reminded me of that day, and getting worse and worse, and finally it just got to the point where I couldn't function, and
Mm.
yeah, and so, but I could at least walk. Now it's like, I might need your services. I'm telling you, because, like, I've gained a bunch of weight. I've just, it's one of these things where I'm laying in this bed, and yeah, I'm happy as a clown. I mean, I'm it's
Mhm.
happening. I'm having a great time, but it's one of these things where um, it's almost like I fear trying, because it'll be the final nail. Like, getting out of bed for me is very, it's an ordeal, you know.
Yeah.
So it's one of these things where people will try to get me to, okay, come on, we can work out of this, and I'll just people don't
Oh, we
understand.
definitely got to get
Yeah,
together. We got
yeah,
to get
but
to
well,
the
yeah, it
details.
would, well, I would love that. That's what I'm getting at. But
Yeah.
people will come in, and give me crap about, not doing anything, and I'll say okay, and then I'll start getting out of bed, and people are like, okay, stop, stop. I mean, it's like before I even get out of bed, they're like, okay, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm like,
It's
look, man,
so
when I say
ironic.
I'm handicapped, I'm handicapped. It's not, this is not like, oh, I feel kind of down and I just need to motivate myself.
Yeah,
And
no.
it just absolutely irritates me. People will say, oh, what you need to do is rub some of this vitamin E on your joints. I'm like, oh, really? 30 years, surgeries, I'm crippled, I'm in a wheelchair, and I need to rub oil on my joints. Okay. Thanks for the input. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, that's right. It's funny. I spend a lot of time in bed as well, and by choice, though. I mean, a lot of time in bed. I used to spend it in the hot tub. You might have seen some of my videos on the YouTube channel that I actually made from the hot tub, but the hot tub has gotten the water's gotten really grungy, and I just don't. I mean, it just takes a matter of cleaning it out.
My
But
favorite video of yours is the suckiness of it. When you're in the video, I mean, that was like my first one I saw. You're in the hot tub. I think it was the second one I ever saw you. You're like, it's just even the suckiness of it is so great. It's like, I said, I love this girl. It's the first time I said, I love her. That's it.
oh,
Just
that's
even
nice.
the suckiness of
Oh,
it.
I should start making them from bed since that's where I'm at a lot of the time.
Hey, join the club, man. We
Yeah.
could have non-dual bed talks.
Oh, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Trademark.
Yeah, that's right. Let's get that non-dual bed talk.
There
Yeah.
you go. Well, I feel like I talk too much. Did I talk too much?
No, yeah, yeah, and so did I. So maybe we should
Yeah, I gotta make a phone
close.
call. I gotta make a phone call before
Wow, 2
5.
hours and 15 minutes. That was timeless.
Hey, man, was that it? I'm telling you what. I mean, I feel like
Crazy.
it's been 15 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, crazy.
Well, I think it's been amazing. I mean, you are my very first interview.
Yay! Cheers to that. Congratulations. Good for you.
Hey, let me know when Kermit's back in town.
That's what
Sinner, you sinner.
where are you in the world actually? Are you in the
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah,
All right,
I've been here.
I'll come visit you.
Oh gosh, yeah, please.
I'll
Yeah,
come
it's hard for me to get on a plane.
and I'll bring Kermit. He's good company.
There you go. There you go. I'll definitely hold you to that.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. I will. That seems to be in the cards now. Just getting out and moving around and meeting people.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's there's a million ways to do these things, to say these things, and to just live and be. And I mean,
Absolutely.
I think you're amazing. I got I've
Ditto.
got nothing. Yeah, I got nothing but chills thinking about it. And
Oh,
yeah, I'm
well,
just
I
grateful.
felt it too. I knew this would be grand. I just felt it. I even like called my hair and makeup crew in early because I'm like, hey, I got this thing with Howard. You got to come in early too.
Look, I wasn't gonna say anything, but I was like, "Did you put on lipstick?" I was like,
Yeah,
you didn't put on some rouge and lipstick for me."
I did put on, but Howard, I always put on lipstick because
uh,
every single one is special.
right, right, right,
But this one, like I got the hair dryer out and stuff.
right,
That
right.
I never do. So
I saw one. I saw one where there's just a couple of speakers, and they were um, just kind of starting out, I guess. I shouldn't say that. One guy was pretty popular, and he got a girlfriend. And, the first time they spoke together, it was cool. I was like, wow, that's nice. And then the next time they were wearing like matching sweaters and stuff.
Aw,
I
how
was like, okay.
cute.
I was like, okay,
Maybe
okay.
they didn't plan it. It was just what happened.
It was beautiful. I mean, it was beautiful. I was like, no, because my man was, I just
Yeah.
didn't strike me as that kind of guy. But it was because it just reminded me of like all the things I've done. When I got a girlfriend, it's like, I don't even care what people think. I've got a girlfriend. I've got a girlfriend, and I don't care what you think. And yeah, so
Mhm.
yeah, but there was oh, my buddy and I were talking, and I was setting up that website, right? And he's doing his thing, and we were he's into marketing and things like this, and I just said, man, dude, please, man, I don't know anything about that. I don't care about that. When I was in business, my thing was to talk to people and to just do the thing. I just do the thing. I don't care about any of that. I'm lucky in that way. I'm in a position to where I don't need anything. I don't want anything, and it's just
Yeah.
whatever. And we'll just I'll just have talks. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. I get to talk without having to do the work like I used to with the restaurant. I would have to act. I got to talk to people, but I'd have to work while I did it. Now I don't have to. Now I don't have to work. So,
Yeah. So you
but
talk a lot more.
yeah, and so my buddy goes, and my buddy says, talking about the future and this and that, and what this might become and all these things. And I said, dude, the funniest thing is that we'll, if let's say, one way or another, let's say we got popular, all right, and we will look back on this moment, where we were setting up our website, and all this stuff and talking about these ridiculous things. And but we will be here. We'll look back. Let's say if you get popular, you'll look back and you'll say, "Damn, man, I didn't know how good I had it," because you don't know when you're not popular, when nobody knows who you are, and you can get somebody to go, just go, "Wow." I hadn't thought about that, or just to get a resonance, just to get a shared experience, that shared energy or whatever, and whatever
Mhm.
you want to say, that thing that happens, and you get that, right, and with somebody that you don't even know, nobody, they don't know you, you don't know them, and it's just like bam, and it's unmistakable. You look at each other, and for the rest of your life, I will remember this moment, and the thing is that if you're popular, like Jerry Seinfeld said, as a popular comedian, I can't make somebody genuinely laugh, and I hate it. He says everybody knows who I am, so they're already there they're predisposed. They're there to laugh, and they're there to they
Right.
know who I am, and it's this thing, and we go through this process, and yeah, they're laughing, but they're being cued to laugh. Whereas when I was nothing and no one, and I was doing a show for six people at a post office once, and these people are looking at me like, what is this? What are we doing? Why are you making us watch this guy during our lunch break? And he pointed at this picture on the wall, and he made an observation, and this guy that was scowling at him looked at the picture and just going, oh yeah, you know. And he goes, and the thing about it is, I remember that reaction from that crabby old man to this day. He goes, because I didn't know him, he didn't know me, he wasn't there to laugh, and I was able to get him to look at that picture and go, oh yeah, that's pretty funny, that's pretty nice. Okay, you know. So from this point, and I made that point, you'll wish that, when you do have, if you have money and all this other kind of things, all these things that he wants to accomplish, I said, you'll look back on this day and during this time, and you'll wish you can have it back. It's that
Yeah,
beautiful. Realize this right now
it
is
is. It
amazing.
so I gotta interject, especially as a hypnotist. There is absolute magic and beauty in this moment. In the
Yes.
in the beginning of something that's going somewhere, that's growing to who knows what. But to to you, for you to be so fucking arrogant, to take away the beauty and the magic of the future, which is already here, as you know,
Yeah. Right.
like fuck you, man. Like, why are you doing that? Yeah, sure, you could think that, but it's gonna be different, like everything is moment to moment. But
Right.
it might be like, God damn, I'm sure glad I'm not there, like, or it could be like, that was awesome. This is also fucking awesome. You know,
Right. Well,
like,
yeah.
don't I mean, do that if it's fun and ha ha, yes, appreciating this moment. But you don't have to negate or take away from the future moments to appreciate this moment more than you're appreciating it.
Well, I think what made me do that is you was talking about all these things that had to happen in order for something good to happen. We have to, we will do this, and we'll have these things happen, and we'll have money and da, 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 da. And for me, I'm just like, okay, okay, I guess, but you don't really need that, do you? I mean, it doesn't really. What difference does it make? You're still going to be you. It's still going to be the same guy that's here now, So why wait until these things happen? I mean,
Right.
why wait until a future moment to be happy when something else happens?
Yeah,
And
that's
I
that's
and I and I pointed out that it's like, you're talking about achieving something to get some kind of to be in some kind of place where you're happy,
yeah, and that's
and
how
then
we're
you're
all
gonna
programmed. It's hard to just bring it back and like right here, right now, and this is about
right,
this. And there's
right, right. And well, it's one of those things where no, I have nothing against being popular and famous and having money and
but
all of
you
that
will
kind of thing.
be, and I'll be your first one. So we're in it together, Howard.
Yeah, no, it would be beautiful. It would be beautiful. At the same time, I cannot. I cannot. I just don't believe that there's not a time in my life where I'll look back on like these past 5 years or these past 2 years with I don't know, not really group, and just all of this time, leading up to this. There's none of that is like suffering to me. It's like,
No,
I don't have to achieve anything. I'm
no,
happy where I'm at. I
this
mean, I
moment
don't care.
moment. Yeah, and you know what? And uh, I called you Andrew. What did I say? Howard. When you were talking about the cap, looking at a bottle cap and stuff,
Right, right.
that's because I do have a lot of free time, in bed or in the hot tub. Well, not in the hot tub lately, but I have a lot of time to ponder and think and reflect and something that it's always been there, but it's always been kind of uncomfortable within. And now after the 5-MeO, I mean, that's just a turbocharge to get where you are. I mean, it's not like it's necessary, and we're all on that path anyway. Some of us are anyway. But sitting there and doing nothing, it's like having that experience that I had and that realization of everything is nothing and nothing is everything, and we're all it, and there's nowhere to go, and there's no meaning and importance, but yet it's playing out. There's a
Mhm.
complete relaxation
Right,
in whatever's happening, whether it's
right.
looking at a bottle cap, whether it's planning your website to be famous, whether it's masturbating, whether it's eating dinner, whether it's sleeping. It's like all in the same space now. It's all amazing and epic,
Right,
so there's no push and force to get to a certain goal,
right.
you
And that
know
and that's the beauty of it. The
yeah,
relaxation of not. Yeah, it's the same with not. You don't really. I'm cheating a bit. I feel like I am because I'm in a position now. That I don't really. I'm going to live regardless. As far as like monetarily and this and that. I've got my thing. My nut is covered and I'm good. So it's easier for me to say these things. It's also I have to admit that I'm cheating because I don't have to go to work every day. I don't have to deal with the public as a lot of people do, and so on the one hand, I don't have that. On the one hand, I can talk about the disabilities and pain, chronic, and all of this other kind of stuff, dealing with
yeah,
all kinds of stuff. But then there are other things that I no longer really carry the cred. I mean, it's a whole another animal to have to get up every day and go out
yeah.
there
But
and
this is
take
the
care of that
interesting
beast.
thing about the magic and the unfolding of it. It's like I don't have to do that anymore either.
Yeah,
And it's just been like it's been come to the point with the level of awareness and the way of being in life where I could no longer do what I was doing, and
yeah,
the risk of being broke and whatever
mm,
was worth it. Like whatever, I'll do whatever, it'll be fine. And
mm,
then letting that go and just going, whoa, you
yeah,
know
yeah.
wow, and seeing how
Let
like
go.
I have more money than I've had ever, and
Yeah,
then this new business as a
yeah,
hypnotist, and now the DMT ceremonies. It's like what the fuck, and
yeah,
it's no longer about the money and making a
yeah,
living. It's what feels good for you in life. And most people, because that's how, for some reason, that's how the game is set up. Most people are unaware and they think like, oh, that's irresponsible and there's no way that I can make that work. And yeah, maybe if you believe that and that's your thing, then it's the way it is, and that's fine. But it does take courage, and it takes an
Mhm,
incredible amount of trust
mhm,
to just let go and just follow what feels good for you. Just follow, what do you want to do? What do you want, how do you want to express yourself today?
mhm.
Do you want to start a business to da da da, or do you just want to make a video, or do you, I mean, it's just moment to moment, and it's so beautiful how it unfolds.
Well, like you were saying with the obsession factor of like the pointer I have, the you know I was watching Andres Mueller again, and somebody had asked him, what made you do this? He said, I first started and it just started, like hey, I'd come home from work and there would be some people online and I'd start talking to them. And it turned out to be one of these things that, wow, I can maybe even quit my job and
Mm-hmm.
do this. And, you know, he said, but when I first started, it was like 6 months and nobody came. Nobody. He said
Mm,
it was one of those things where I just kept opening the thing and, just wait and just nobody came. But he said I just kept doing what I did, and
yeah,
eventually people started coming little by little, and then bam,
yeah.
bam, bam. And I thought, well, you know what? I get upset if I don't get enough likes on my post. I mean, it's like this this guy's like going 6 months, and he's got a donut to show for it, and he
Yeah,
just kept on trucking, and he's doing his thing. And I thought, you know what?
yeah.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
You
You
just do
know.
what you want. It's the same. I don't know if you know my COVID karaoke that I do on my Facebook page, but I started doing it about just over a year ago. I
Hmm.
call it COVID karaoke with a CC, And
Right.
if you go on my page and just, or hashtag COVID karaoke, you'll find a bunch of them. But um, I had this Mariah Carey song stuck in my head, and I couldn't get it out. And I just said, I'm going to film myself singing it or lip syncing it, and maybe that'll help, get it out of my system. And I recorded it, and I loved it. I was so hooked, and I posted it on Facebook. And since then, which was like when COVID's pretty much started, I've been making them at least once a week, usually more. So I have like way over 50, and it's become a thing, and sometimes
Really.
I make these ones that I feel like this is epic, and I'll
Right.
get like one or two
Nothing. Nothing.
likes,
I did the same
like,
thing for me. It's the same thing. It's the ones that I think I barely even put out. I'm like, I'm embarrassed to even put this out there. Like, I
yeah.
don't even want to. It's like I'm scared to even do it, and I'm like, I just barely put it out, and it just blows up. And the one that I think is going to break the internet because it's so profound gets like 2 hits, maybe. It's like one or two people go, yeah, nice try. I'm like,
Yeah, and it's so interesting because after the 5-MeO, I was one of those people that as a child, my younger brother, he's 2 years younger, you know, he's the one that could sing. You can't sing. You have the brains. You don't. Even it went even to adulthood. So and being a performer as an actress and stuff, like having this thing with me that I can't sing, and I had my hypnosis mentor, the dad, him and I started doing these COVID karaoke's, and he was like, "You got a voice, you got to use it. I'm not gonna have you lip sync me. I want you to join me anyway." So that was a catalyst that started to get things going. And after the 5-MeO, I literally heard it when I started talking. My voice sounds different. It feels different. It's freer. It's just loose, and I don't care. And so I started singing it around the house, and I'm like, man, I sound fucking good. So 2 nights ago, I think it was, I did my first COVID karaoke where I actually sang the whole song with a
mm,
cappella, and I had it
really?
back. Yeah, you go on my page and you can see it and like it, will you?
And like it. I
You
love it. Well,
better like it, Howard.
you got to be kidding me though with that octave. What is that soprano? I mean, that's way up there.
Whoa, the Mariah Carey.
Yeah, that's
No,
way high.
I didn't sing that one out loud. That was
Oh,
just lip syncing. The one I did the other night was "Cry Me a River," the Barbara Streisand version, but it's just me singing it, so you don't even know what version it is.
I
Anyway,
love that song.
and I said to my husband, like, I never show him my videos. He either watches them or he comes across them, and or
Are
he
you
does.
kidding me?
Yeah, no, I know, Howard. That's what I said. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? What's wrong with you?
That's how everybody is in my life. It's like, oh yeah, that's nice for you, Howard.
They
Yeah,
get used to the fucking magic and muse, like, oh, it's normal. That's what
yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's
They're just used
it's
to it.
normal. I'm
Yeah,
like, guys, and not just my husband, but like, I have one friend, Cheryl, who her and I are going into this DMT ceremony thing together. Rightly so. She's the one person who is always watching my stuff, very honest, like, no, I didn't like that video, man, it didn't resonate. Oh, that was epic, liking everything regardless, just for the effort. But even though the cover karaoke's are always good, I mean, some
right,
are,
right.
and I was like, why? What? And when I get a thumbs down on some of my YouTube videos, Howard, this really, I don't give a fuck, really. But what it makes me think is like, I am here talking about how much I love you, how much you
Right,
are, how the
right.
magic in life is like available to you. If you like step out of this and step at whatever I'm fucking saying, and I get a thumbs down to that, I'm like,
What
what
is
the
that?
fuck is wrong with you? You must be so miserable. I'm so sorry. There's one thing like watching it and going, nah, I don't like it. It doesn't resonate. But there's another effort, and a really conscious effort that says thumbs down.
Well, that's what always gets me about the people that thumbs down stuff. It's like, for me, if I see something that I don't like, I just move on. I don't understand
Right.
why.
You don't have to fucking
What's yeah, what's up with the like, you know, intentional negativity? I don't get.
I know, especially when you're talking about love and
Right.
magic and freedom. I'm like, fuck you guys.
And if you're gonna give me the thumbs down, at least how about an explanation? Like, tell me why.
Exactly.
Why?
Speak the
What is
truth,
it?
buddy.
Yeah, what you didn't like? You didn't like the way my hair was. I mean, what? But yeah, that's I ran into almost over positive a few years back. I just always pressed the heart button. I mean, that
Yeah.
way I felt. I just
Yeah. Spread the love.
it's like, and the thing is that you get into situations where like a heart isn't really,
Right. Lose me.
it's kind of one of those things. It's not really appropriate. But so
Oh,
but I would like stop. I wouldn't give people a heart, when something seemed not appropriate. And it got to a point where as soon as I did it, because I was thinking, man, I mean, I'm just being too weird here about this, and I would like not heart. And people would message me and say, dude, man, where's my heart? What are you, what's
really?
that about? And I was
Oh,
like, well,
wow.
I didn't know if it was appropriate. He goes, man, I love your hearts, man. Why are you? And it got to that point where no matter what I did, like if I didn't give the heart, people would ask me, what's wrong, man? I always get like 10 of your hearts a day,
It's,
and I woke up today and I had none. What is going on with Howard? And I'm like, well, it's just you made that comment the other day that it really wasn't an appropriate situation, and I'm just trying to be more thoughtful, and you know and he was like, no, 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 don't listen to me. He goes, just give me my heart. I just
it's
want my Howard hearts in the morning. You know, I'm so used to
Howard
it. It's been
Hearts in the morning.
yeah. He goes, I'm used to it. He goes, it's like, I wake up and there's like 10 hearts from Howard. And at first it was like, who is this weird guy? And now it's like, that's Howard. He hearts things. So I can't like thumbs down or like just like something. I either love it or I move on.
So it's so bizarre, like the times we're living in, where this is the thing, like, oh, he's working, you know. I
Yeah,
only
the
got
heart.
I sang. My voice has been freed, and I'm brave enough to sing for the world, and I get 3 likes. What
Yeah, right.
the
Well, what's up with that? Right. Yeah, and that's the funny thing too. It's yeah, the thing where you think it's so profound and it's like this big
Yeah.
what internal thing, and you're gonna let it all out, and nobody gives a shit. And then and then you
Yeah.
make a comment like offhand, totally. Just it's just not even something you think about. And you just put it on there and you put it up, and 100 people love it, and you're like,
Yeah. It's so funny. but this again, I mean, I keep saying since the 5-MeO, I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't there before, but now it's like, okay, it's there, you know?
Right.
It's that it's
Hmm.
super predictable,
Hmm.
and that everything that I put out there or that I do, it's completely without expectation and attention, you know? I mean,
Right.
I will still check because I'm on Facebook, but I really have I made a video last night that I didn't post because I was super off last night, but I'm gonna post it now that we're talking about it. Where I'm like, I don't know if I want. Anyway, blah blah blah. That's irrelevant. But yeah, that you just don't care. You just do your
Yeah.
thing, and you just it doesn't matter, you know.
Right.
But still, in the big picture, like because of us doing our thing, we've
Right.
made connections like this, and it grows to something else, and like it's so you just gotta be who you are and don't fucking worry about likes or hearts or thumbs down,
Well, I go back to Tony Parsons and the Osho thing with that in that it looks it okay, Tony Parsons at Osho, and then now and I watched Tony Parsons for the first time fairly recently. It was like a few years back or whatever, and the first time I saw him, I was amazed at how deep he was, because it's just you get the Q&As are more it's just this, but when he speaks, when he's just
yeah, yeah,
speaking about what he wants to talk about, he gets far more. It's far better for me, and but I was admiring the style and all of that, and I was admiring like all the offshoots, that like started a whole thing, and then I found out that he had been at Osho, and I just it reminded me of you know, like Jerry Garcia. Okay, he said this. They said, "Don't you ever, do you ever hate something because you always just give your music away for free?" And did you ever regret doing that? Are there pieces that you don't want? And he said, other than Woodstock, no. He said Woodstock was the worst show we ever did. We were all really high and all that. But he said so we didn't give Woodstock away. We're the on that whole thing, 36 hours. Every band gave permission for everything except for the Grateful Dead, who has given their music away for 50 years, but except for Woodstock, which is so weird. But anyways, Jerry said there was a show that we did back in it was like 73 or something like that. He said I was so angry at Phil and the bass player, and he said it was such a horrible show, and everything was wrong about it. It was terrible, and I just me and Phil had been together for so long, and we were so tight musically and friendship wise, and I couldn't believe I did it, but I pushed him down this little staircase on the way off the stage. And, what are you doing? He got all angry, and which blew my mind to hear Jerry Garcia talk about throwing somebody down a staircase, but he, but he says I was so angry because the show sucked. And 6 months later, he says I picked it up. Somebody had taped it. Of course, and we threw it in the thing, and we're going down the road, and it was amazing. He said it was an
Mhm.
amazing show. He said there was all kinds of stuff going on that I had no idea what was happening,
Right,
and
yeah,
I was in my own thing. And he said it was beautiful. And he said from that point on, I don't care. He says if
yeah,
it sounds like shit to me, or if it's beautiful, it's that's just my personal thing. There's going to be people in the audience that don't like it. There's going to be people that their lives will be changed by the show, and that's just every show. That's just the way it is.
yeah.
You resonate with it sometimes, and you don't at others. And I totally agree. I mean, I could watch, I could read a book or watch a movie or listen to music that doesn't resonate with me, and then try it again 5 years later, and it's amazing.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
yeah, I see it the same way. I see it. You know, Osho and Parsons, and how all that played out, and everything that's going on now, and it's just weird kind of happening that I try not to judge anything at all, and even Osho, which initially for me was something that like recoiled me
Mhm.
completely, and and now um I can see that even in that scenario, which I would never like join something like that, but
Yeah,
but to denigrate it, is completely useless. It's foolish. You don't
Yeah.
know what's happening. It's not your thing. Don't heart it. Just move on. I
Yeah.
mean, you know what I mean? That's
Don't
just
heart
kind
it
of,
and don't thumbs down it
yeah. You
either.
don't have to, or you could just like a lot of times I just heart it anyways. I mean,
Right.
whatever.
That's nice. Yeah. My friend Cheryl and I were talking about judgment, and it's like, we've seen the bigger picture, we've experienced it, the appreciation for all the manifestations and the life stories playing out and the characters and
Hmm.
but part of the game is like it's a lot of fun to talk shit,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh God.
especially if you're not caught up in it. You just realize we're just having fun with this, we're not it's there's nothing really wrong with anything or anybody. Well, some things, yes, there is, but
I'm not an anarchist. I wish I could say I'm an anarchist, but I'm not. I mean, there are some things that I just, nah, that's not going to work,
yeah,
But
no,
as far,
some
yeah,
people how shit's playing out, and you're like, that fucking sucks. Like when you just got onto my radical freedom parenting page, that
mhm,
video. That's one thing that I have a really hard time with is
right.
you know children being treated badly and negated, and that's like they're fucking children, and it's all the adult stuff, and then somebody was telling me, well, you got to see it from the adult's point of view, and they've had a hard life and shit. I'm like, yeah, but so what? So you got to go keep perpetuating that shit. Wake the fuck up,
Right, right.
you know. Yeah,
Oh yeah. I like uh, talking about, just seeing things differently. Like Alan, it's, I can't remember what the scenario was, but somebody was giving somebody hell about teaching and this and that, and somebody said, "Well, that's not very enlightened. You shouldn't say that about somebody," or whatever it was. And it reminded me of something that Alan Watts said. Um, he says they all fight each other. He goes, if you look at the histories of these like enlightened people, they all tell each other, to go, no, that's wrong. Within their own little pre, computer, back in the day, Facebook was like, it took 7 years to get something around the world. It's like they
yeah,
all kind of did this thing where, everybody has their own style. Everybody, like I have my thing, Andreas, everybody, you have your thing. Everybody's got their own style, and that was never any different. And it occurred to me that we just have more accessibility. We have way more ability
yeah.
to just instantaneously whatever you say goes everywhere, and it's like, yeah, 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 yeah. So
You
it's like,
don't even have to use words anymore.
well, what would Lao Tzu say to the Buddha? And it's like, that kind of thing. Probably nothing,
Let's
but
go have a beer.
yeah, right, right. And it's, if you have, I mean, it just made me laugh because, in that link, Alan Watts, he gives examples of how, one teacher say something about another, and another one would say something about another, and they would all, have these like infights. And um, and I just thought that was so profound. I was like, wow, isn't that amazing? Even back then, these holy, these people that are so renowned are just people like anybody else, and then, we are all, prone to
Yeah.
be judgmental and all of that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean that opened my eyes quite a bit. The whole, just trying not to judge a moment because I'm not having a good time, or it's not about what
Yeah. And
resonating
it
with
and
me.
it goes the other way around, like not to judge somebody as a fucking
Exactly.
holy superhero, just
Right.
because you do like them and you appreciate, like, yeah, that's cool that I do, but it's the same.
Right.
We're all the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I try to imagine. It's like it used to be. Um, I would think about people as if they somehow existed in some kind of alternate universe where everything was, peachy keen all the time. And the reality is as I sat thinking about,
Boring.
this person or that person, and some, just things my brother used to say about like rock stars. If I said something about rock, oh man, that guy's life must be amazing, and this that. I don't know. I mean, he's probably eating eggs just like we are right now. I mean, it's not like, it's not like everything changes because you're a speaker or a rock star or something like this.
Yeah.
And and it's the same thing with a lot of the more respected, renowned people that I've been able to talk to, that on occasion. They are the most down to earth people in the world. They're just full on. You know, let's just go
Mhm.
get a sandwich and talk. It
Mhm.
doesn't. I heard that about. I think didn't Emerson say that about the Parsons actually? That when you talk to Parsons on the phone, he's a normal human. I mean, he just talks just like anybody else. And Emerson, I think, asked him. He says, "Do the show thing for me, or do the bit for me, or do the whatever it is, whatever it is, a retreat thing, and the speaker thing." And he'll immediately revert into Tony the speaker. There is no self.
Mhm.
There is no, and no matter what you say, it's like you get okay, there is no me. I get it. So I just thought that would be amazing to be able to. And that just makes a lot of sense to me that Tony Parsons would talk to his friends as he would as anybody else does. There's a difference between the 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 retreat guy and the life guy. I'm here. I'm giving you the non-message, however you want to say that, and here I have a wife, a kid. I go out to get my gas for my lawnmower, all that kind of thing. So I'm not living in another alternative world where everything is so
Right.
rosy and beautiful. Everything is as mundane as everyone else, and it's just for me, how you look at the mundane. I mean, it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's been lovely. I gotta pee. I'm not gonna take the camera in there, so
Thanks for the visual.
yeah, another one, just as we're ending.
Giselle, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank
You
you.
are amazing.
So are you, Howard.
You're beautiful. I'm so grateful. I'll never
Thank.
forget it. Thank
No,
you.
and we will talk again. And I will. I don't think I'll hypnotize you out of your smoking because you should always keep smoking if you smoke. But when there was something
I
else.
love that. Thank you. I think Giselle told me that I should keep smoking. Shut up.
Yeah. No, something else. We'll definitely connect in that way.
Absolutely. I'm curious. I still want to know all about it. I'm definitely into that.
Yeah.
I say, we can do another one if you like, and
Oh,
let's
sure.
talk
I'd
off.
love to. This is
Yeah,
fun.
we can talk. We could do something on camera or off, however you like it, and we'll
I
just
I'm a ham, so on camera is always my my go-to.
let's do this thing. If we're gonna do it, let's do it.
Yeah. So can
I'll
I do
talk.
a plug?
Oh yes, please go ahead.
I just want because we've talked so much about it, and if you're looking for a non-dual hypnotist, or actually a lot of my clients, I've been like, have been recuperating. My sessions have been recuperating, freeing from the non-dual prison
Yeah,
curse, you
yeah,
will.
yeah. The most ironic prison of all
I
time.
know, right? Like and other things like the whole pleasure in the body. I'm sexual freedom hypnosis where people who have issues experiencing pleasure and sex in other ways. That's something else I do. So www.radicalfreedomhypnosis.com.
Well, although the mental visual would suffice on the other ones, on this one I'm gonna need a few photos. I'm gonna need a few souvenirs.
Well, okay. So you brought it up. You brought it up. Because this is such a thing and it's so activated and I'm good at it. Because why the fuck not? Use it while you got it.
I
I
know nothing. I say nothing. I hear nothing. I'm not saying nothing.
I'm starting. I'm starting an OnlyFans page. I would start a Patreon page, but they don't allow as much. More erotic kind of thing. to do sexual erotic hypnosis, photos, all things.
Man, your
But
life
the
is getting
goddamn fucking
good.
thing is just I've been trying to get a subscription for or to get on it for the last 2 weeks, and they keep coming back at me like, no, this isn't right, this isn't right. And so I'm just being patient. I'm doing what, but soon I will have an OnlyFans page. It's gonna cost you, but it's gonna be worth every penny.
I love it. I love this, Giselle. You
Yeah, me
do not
too.
disappoint. I am
Oh,
into it.
good. Neither do
Oh
you,
my God,
darling.
that's great. You're perfect. I swear.
Mwah.
That is so amazing. Okay, okay. I'm gonna
Yeah.
leave it there, but I'll tell you what, we got another interview coming. I'm
Oh,
gonna contact
absolutely.
you. Thank you
Literally.
so much. Literally, I'm
Literally.
gonna. Oh my God,
Oh yeah.
that is when we have to leave it there,
We do.
and
We do.
yeah, we have to leave it there. So
We do.
I'm gonna contact you really soon. And hopefully I'm gonna get you to do this again. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you so
Likewise.
much,
Enjoy your interview with Andreas and everybody else. It will
Kim.
never be this good, but anyway.
Never, never, never. There can only be one first.
Oh, you got that right.
Thanks, Giselle. I'll talk to
All
you
right.
later.
Thank you, Howard. Talk to you
Bye.
soon. Bye.